I guess it didn't do the intro. All right, cool. We're just gonna skip over it. Welcome once again, another live edition of MNC Hoops. As you guys may see, Michael is dealing with some technical issues right now. He will be back momentarily, but besides that, I will be the host today. I guess I am Nick Andre. Good to be back, man. Got my guy CJ right here to the right of me. CJ, what's going on with you, bro? How you been? How's the week been?
Nick, what's going on, man? All is well. All is well. It's that time of the year. It's playoff time, postseason. It's time we see, who's going to become a champion this year. So I'm excited. Last few games of the regular season were exciting in regards to, seeding, playoff seeding, play-in seeding. It's been a good week. It's been a really good weekend. I'm ready for this week coming up. It's going to be special.
It's been a crazy last day, for the regular season games. We got fights and stuff. G League type players, bench players dropping like 30, 40 points, bro. It's been a crazy day in the regular season, but honestly, it just gears us up for the playoffs, man. So, I'm super excited about it, man. The play-in tournament starts in a few days. What you want to dive into first, man?
Yeah, let's talk about some NBA news. No share screen for this one, but it looks like Stephen Silas and Dwayne Casey are going to be out as the head coaches of the Houston Rockets and the Detroit Pistons, respectively. Obviously, two teams that are, in likelihood probably going to have a top 3 pick coming up in the draft. Underwhelming season, a lot of young talent, but apparently, those coaches really couldn't, they just couldn't get it done. They couldn't get it done, and their voice just couldn't carry over to that young locker room. So what's your thoughts on Stephen Silas and Dwayne Casey out as head coaches of the Houston Rockets and the Detroit Pistons?
I'll start on the Stephen Silas situation. It was an unfortunate situation from the beginning for Stephen Silas. If people know, he was hired on around late 2020, and he kind of got the wrong end of the stick here because this was supposed to be a playoff team. He was supposed to coach James Harden, John Wall, who was coming back from injury but still had a little bit left in him. DeMarcus Cousins, same thing, coming back from injury, but still had a lot with him, or still had a lot under him. Even Christian Wood, who was who displayed a pretty phenomenal season that year. So, unfortunately, he had to deal with the drama of James Harden wanting out at that time. So, with Harden wanting out, and then of course, things going downhill, I kind of think he got the wrong end of the stick. But I guess when you look at it from a different perspective, I don't know if Stephen Silas is really the leader that they needed, especially for the young group. It seemed like there was a lot of drama behind the scenes in the locker room, and it just seemed like Stephen Silas was not able to bring the team together and try to find some magnitude or whatever you want to call it. So, at the end of the day, I think this isn't the end for Stephen Silas. I think maybe he can possibly find another coaching job in the NBA or in college, however. But I still think that he can get another chance per se. And as for Dwayne Casey, it's difficult for me because I believe that Dwayne Casey is a brilliant mind for basketball. I mean, we know what he did in those years with Toronto with DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, and those guys. They didn't win a championship, but they were able to get to multiple playoffs. But I don't know. I guess maybe it just didn't work out with this team. This is a young Detroit Pistons team who is currently in rebuild mode and looking to build for the future. I actually just read a stat before we went live. The Pistons went 2-21 after All-Star break. That's completely insane. I never even heard anything like that. But honestly, with him stepping up, and being behind the scenes for the Pistons, I think that'll be great for him. Maybe possibly he could be able to recruit some other young talent or some key veterans that may be able to elevate this team. So honestly, this might be a good sign for the Pistons to move into a new direction as far as finding a new head coach.
Yeah, this is for the Rockets again. This underwhelming season, and they weren't going to win a lot of games anyway. It's just right. How they played, the defense, the losing streak that they were on for an extended period of time. It was just time, man. And if you lose the voice of the locker room, it's definitely your time to go. And I'm hearing Udoka might be a candidate. Scott Brooks, Frank Vogel, Kenny Atkinson. Those seems to be some of the top leading candidates for the Rockets, maybe for the Pistons as well. We'll see. But they definitely need someone in there. They have some really good young talent. Josh Christopher, Jalen Green, Şengün, KJ Martin. and obviously Kevin Porter Jr. also. So it's a tough time, but hopefully, whoever they bring in next is going to be that guy for them because they need to lock in. They're in the Western Conference. You have to play defense. You got to play defense in that conference. You can't get blasted by 30 every single night. And then on the offensive end, you can't be inefficient. Your top players can't be inefficient players. And Jalen Green and KPJ, they're going to have to learn that. They're going to have to learn how to be efficient basketball players if they want to, continue to, have success. And if they want to win, they have to be efficient. Şengün showed some really good flashes this year. Maybe they'll run the offense through him a little bit more going into next season, depending on who they bring in as a head coach. But he's definitely talented. He's very talented. He has a great game, face up. He can post up. He's great passing, cut to the basket, spacing the floor with the 3-point shot. So he's a guy that they need to definitely lean on going forward. And for the Detroit Pistons, it's really the same thing. They have some really nice young players as well. Jaden Ivey, Kate Cunningham will be back next year from injury. Those are going to be your two guys that you're going to lean on for the future. And whoever they bring in as a head coach, they those are the two guys that they're going to have to develop and so they could get better, so they could start winning in the Eastern Conference as well. You don't want to have fans go into the game and they already know the outcome. You want to make sure those guys are playing hard on both ends, doing things the right way to win. If you lose, so be it. But if you play the right way and you have the right identity, I think the fans and the people are going to get behind that. So that's the key thing for both of these teams is, establishing an identity going forward, and hopefully they get the right guys as next head coach.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you as far as for the Rockets. Like, do you think that it's fair to put all the blame on Steven Silas, or do you think the players have to be held accountable as well?
Yeah, it's a mixture of both. Obviously, when you have a team that was a failure like this season, you can't just look at one person. You can't look at just one guy and say, oh, it's just Steven Silas' fault. You also have to look at the players. They step on the court and they make the plays. They take the shots. They get the stops. They have control over whether you win the game or not. Of course, you can listen to the coach and you have to buy into the scheme and things of that nature. But it's on the players too. And also on the coaches. He obviously didn't get the best out of those guys each and every night, regardless of film, practice, whatever it was. When they stepped out on the court, everybody just automatically assumed that's an easy W. It's just whoever they played. Multiple players had their career highs against the Rockets this year. That's unacceptable. I mean, just as a fan, you're paying your hard-earned money, with the money you have working, whatever situation you have with your family, you're spending money on tickets. And these guys are letting opposing teams' best players get career highs, 70-plus games, 40, 50. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see that make you not show up to the game. So it was time. It was definitely time, and we'll see what happens going forward for both teams. But again, they do have a lot of young talent. But just because you have young talent doesn't mean that the future is always bright. So those guys have to come together and understand. Listen, what do we want to do here? Do we just want to be a team that just wants to chuck up shots and do whatever on defense, or do we want to play as a team, get stops, move the ball, be efficient, and make things happen for team success? So that's really the next step for these two teams. They're gonna have top picks, so maybe that next player that they bring in will be a game changer for both teams. This is a really deep draft. There could be some special players. We know obviously Wembanyama is at the top, but outside of that, after Wembanyama, there's a lot of talent in this NBA draft going forward. So I think a lot of people are sleeping on that, and we just focus on Victor. So both of these teams could really get a franchise guy that can change some things and really change the complexity of the team. I forgot about Jabari Smith Jr. as well on the Rockets. So they're just the talent is just endless, but it has to be more than that if you want to have success.
To me, looking at this Rockets team, and I don't know if like the coaching change would be the only solution to fix their problems, but I don't know. It's like, to me, I feel like they need to revamp the roster just a little bit. Like maybe they need to find more of a primary playmaker to play alongside guys like Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr., and then allow just Jalen Green to really just be a primary scorer, play off the ball. I don't know if that will possibly work, but I just don't know if like a coaching change will be the only solution to like changing the Rockets. Obviously they're going to have a lot of you picking the draft, so they can go pick up a guy, but I just feel like it's going to be more than just a coaching change to me.
As well, it's going to come down to shots, of course, and it's going to come down to who's going to take the most shots. Me personally, I'd probably lean towards Şengün and Jabari Smith Jr. getting those
I agree with
shots.
that.
And then Jalen Green. I think that should be your big three. Kevin Porter Jr. is a special player, young, has a lot of talent, great scorer. But if you could go out and get a playmaker, get a guy that can facilitate and set those guys up, there aren't really a lot of point guards out there like that today. There's a lot of really combo guards that are rather score and then pass, and they use their scoring to set up the passing, not the other way around. So that's a rarity in today's NBA. So I'm not sure if they're gonna be able to find that. Maybe they can find it in the draft or elsewhere. But Şengün is a playmaker. So again, you could play through him. He can make plays. He can set guys up. We've seen him show flashes of triple doubles, high 6+ assist games. So if that's what you want to do, and have him kind of be a point forward, point center type guy, and he use his gifts as a passer to set up the other players around him, I think that'd be a good idea. And we'll see what happens going forward. But yeah, it's going to come down to the players, team building, the roster, the GM and the executives. This is going to be it has to be a collaborative effort. It can't just be one aspect that could change it. Bringing in a guy like Udoka, again, I don't know what the situation is. Really never really knew what happened in Boston. We heard things, we heard stories, but we never heard anything that you could regard as truth to what happened in Boston. So I don't know how it's going to play out with the league, and will he be suspended by the NBA with the not just the Celtics? I don't know what happens with that. But if he's cleared, if he's obviously able to have an opportunity to coach again, he has to be at the top of everybody's list, right? I mean, he was a rookie season as a head coach and took a team to the finals. Was one game away from 2 wins away from winning the finals. So that he'd be at the top for any team that's for a head coach right now, and especially for a young team like that with a lot of potential. He's a defensive minded guy. He holds guys accountable, on the court, and so that'd be a good spot. That'd be a good spot. Will he want to go there? Will he want to go? Would he want to kind of be in a real rebuilding situation? That's the question. Or does he want to go to a situation where they have some players that may be ready to go right now, and they just need that coach to take it to the next step? I don't know. He can help them take them to the next step, but it's like I said, it's going to take more than him. It's going to take for those guys that they're trying to build around, those cornerstone pieces. They're going to also have to buy in also, if they really want to be successful.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say Udoka for this Rockets team, but I'll actually say this: I think that he will be a better coach for a team like Detroit, honestly, because I feel like the Pistons. I feel like even though they are young, I feel like they have a well enough roster to at least make the play. Like, it's kind of like what we see in OKC this season. Like, OKC doesn't really have a lot of veteran type players on the team, but hey, they were still able to make it into the play-in tournament in a tough Western Conference. And I feel like Detroit would be capable of doing that possibly with the right coach. Unfortunately, no, even though Dwayne Casey is a terrific head coach in my eyes, it just didn't work. But you mentioned all of the great things about Udoka. I mean, we all know the situation that happened in Boston. To me, I feel like he deserves another chance. That's just my opinion. And I feel like with a young team like Detroit, with talented players like Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, we saw what James Wiseman did, after the trade deadline, and how he was able to produce and rejuvenate his career after what happened in Golden State. Then you got other talented guys, Isaiah Stewart, Marvin Bagley, and the list goes on and on. I feel like with a team like Detroit, who in my opinion is capable of possibly making a run at the play-in next season if healthy, I think Udoka could possibly be that coach that could help them get there.
I agree. Again, the West is stacked, but no one thought the Kings would be in the playoffs at the start of the season. So I mean, it's a lot of factors, man, and they had talent, and it just it took Mike Brown. Mike Brown came in there, they bought in, and they had one of their best seasons in the new millennium since 2000s, since early 2000s. So it's gonna take a lot. I think Udoka would be good for both places. Kenny Atkinson might get another shot. Remember, he turned down the Charlotte Hornets job, and that ended up being a phenomenal move by him. Whoever got in his area and told him to hold on that was shout out to that person, because he made the right choice staying in Golden State, becoming the championship assistant coach, and that's just going to raise his stock even more depending on what they do in the playoffs this year. So he's obviously going to be a top candidate. Also, Frank Vogel will be as well. They did win a championship. He had success with the Pacers back in the 2010s. It's kind of, I heard Scott Brooks. It's kind of, they like to recycle these guys. I would like to see the Rockets and the Pistons look at some of these teams that are having success, like the Bucks, like the Sixers, maybe even the Knicks, maybe even the Nets, the Celtics again. I mean, look at the Jazz. They went and got Will Hardy, assistant coach from the Celtics, and look at the season he had before they decided to lose games on purpose so they could get a better draft pick. So I think that's what these teams should do. These teams, they need to go look at the great teams in the NBA right now, and take some of their assistant coaches and see if one of those guys could be the answer. That's what the Celtics did with Udoka, and we saw the success that they had, and we'll see if the Rockets and the Pistons do the same. Let's get into some other news here. Some last game of the season, but the fights the fights is going on, and not amongst each team. It's within the team.
Yeah, within.
Obviously, the big news today was Rudy Gobert and Kyle Anderson going at it. Just a weird scenario. Gonna pop this up here for the people. You guys can watch this. Put the sound off. We're gonna get copyrighted.
Exactly.
So
we don't own rights.
So we have Kyle Anderson and Rudy Gobert talking after a timeout. He shoves him. Then you see Taurean Prince shove Rudy Gobert. And then obviously your people get up, they're separated. Interestingly enough, you see Ant and you see Cat, they have their head down. They're not really, engaged in that reaction. Now this probably happens often. You see players, they argue, they go at it, and then they lock back in. It happens all the time. Emotions are high, trying to win a game. It happens. But then Rudy Gobert to shove him, and then you see Taurean Prince shove Rudy. So weird scenario. Rudy Gobert just came out about an hour ago and apologized on Twitter to the fans. To Kyle Anderson, said he was a great teammate, great guy. So obviously trying to soften the blow with a play-in game against the Lakers on the horizon. And then unfortunately also Jalen McDaniel, because of this, got upset, punched the wall, and broke his right hand. One of their best perimeter defenders, one of their rising young stars.
Was it because of this?
I believe so. When I saw the clip, I saw the clip. Yeah, it might have been a reaction to this or them losing. I'm not sure, but he's going to be out for that play-in game, and he's obviously, like I said, he's one of their best perimeter defenders. He's a guy that you could throw on LeBron and try to make things tough. Obviously, can't guard LeBron, but he's definitely a better option than what they might have. So we already know. The trade was talked about ad nauseum during the offseason for Gobert and the amount of picks and assets that Minnesota gave up. This just makes it worse, and especially at this time of the season, this time of the year. This time last year, we got Patrick Beverley throwing his jersey in the stands, and everything was going well. They took the Grizzlies to 7. It was exciting. We thought the future was very bright. Now at this season, we're seeing something completely different, man. What's your reaction to this?
Honestly, I mean, I'm sure social media is probably, overblowing this whole situation. To me, I mean, we've seen it on so many occasions. Even last year, you remember last year, Miami towards the end of the regular season, I think it was Jimmy Butler, Eric Spoelstra getting into it. It was like, everyone was looking at the team like, oh man, everything's falling apart, and then boom, they ended up making the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, I'm not saying that Minnesota is that good of a team, because I definitely don't believe that they are, but. Obviously, I mean, it's like you mentioned, tempers rise, especially, when heated situations during the game. I think that Gobert was definitely in the wrong. I think he definitely allowed his emotions to get the best of him. But honestly, I mean, at the end of the day, this type of stuff happens all the time. All you got to do is just, talk about it, get whatever it is off your chest, and then just keep moving forward. Minnesota now is in a position to possibly get into the playoffs. They have a play-in game coming up this upcoming Tuesday against the Lakers, which in my opinion, I don't think the odds are in their favor whatsoever. But, just use the situation to fuel, use the situation to just get better, and just, come together as a collective and just revamp for that play-in game on Tuesday.
Yeah, crazy. So when I saw this, I'm like, what? It was weird. was weird, and of course, people are going to bring up 2020 with Gobert and what happened during during COVID and his unfortunate his relationship with Donovan Mitchell. That's when that their relationship definitely started to uh, you know it was rough. It was rough. It was really the beginning of the end for that duo in Utah after that situation, after that post game press conference, and now we're seeing this. It just doesn't look good. It just really doesn't look good for Gobert. They brought in all these picks. I mean, they gave up all these picks for him. They had Walker Kessler right there. They drafted him, and I was like, yeah. When they drafted him, I'm like, oh, that's perfect because Cat really doesn't want to play center. And Kessler's a shot blocking five that can space the floor, roll, do things successfully. And then it's like June, I think it was like June 26th, they make the trade for Gobert. And I'm like, they gave up all of that. And then when I saw Kessler in there, I'm like, oh man, they're crazy. They're crazy for giving up Kessler. And then we're seeing the season that Walker Kessler had in his short time. Obviously, we're not going to see a lot of it because we know what the Jazz want to do going forward.
Not to mention guys like Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt as well. Like, and now we see what those guys are doing with the Lakers.
With the Lakers, yes. So and here we go full circle. They play the Lakers on Tuesday. Crazy. Crazy is how the league works and how things align. And it's just an unfortunate situation at the wrong time. And that's the thing. It's just at the wrong, literally, you have in a day, you're going up against a team that a lot of people think that can really make a run here in the playoffs with the new roster that they have, the new acquisitions that we just talked about for the Los Angeles Lakers. And it's just an unfortunate situation for Minnesota. Who's their leader? Right? I mean, this is, is it Cat? I don't know. I really don't know. So that's really going to be the question here. Who's the leader? Who's the guy that, kind of calms everything down, gets, has maybe a player meeting, something like that. And it's like, listen, we have to lock in for this game against the Lakers on Tuesday. This is what's more important. Those guys hash it out. They do their thing. They're brothers. Again, brothers argue all the time. This got out of hand. And of course, with the cameras and social media, it's going to be, like you said at the top of the segment, it's going to get heightened to the highest degree. But more importantly, it's Tuesday. That's the most important thing. So if they keep that the main thing and just go out there and ball, then I think they could give the Lakers a competitive game. But yeah, it's I don't see them getting past Tuesday, unfortunately.
Nah, definitely not. I mean, and we'll definitely dive more into that later. But it's interesting that you mentioned who is the leader of this team because I think many people would expect it to be Cat because I'm pretty sure Cat is probably the longest tenured player on this Timberwolves team. He's 8 years in, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem like Cat because we talk about guys like Kevin Durant, who is not much of like a vocal leader in a way. So it's like for Karl-Anthony Towns, I don't know. It's kind of tough though because you would think with him having that veteran presence, it's almost like he should be the leader. But I don't really see him like that. And it's like for Ant-Man, even though I love Ant-Man as a player, I don't know if he has the personnel yet to be like a real leader. I mean, obviously he's probably their go-to scorer, but as far as like being the leader of the team, the guy that brings everyone together, I don't think he's that yet to me.
Yeah, I'm not sure really. I'm not sure. It could be Ant. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, and that's a great question, and that's why I asked it because it's just because you score the most points and you have the best stats doesn't mean you're the leader, doesn't mean you're the captain, doesn't mean you're the guy that everybody looks to in the locker room and is the therapist or the counselor, depending on situational things that go on in the locker room. It doesn't necessarily mean that. So whoever that is on this team. And then also, you just have to, lead yourself and, and also have some self-awareness and understand what's going on and the magnitude of the situation that you're having right now as a team. You have an opportunity to make the playoffs. That's more important than whatever this was. So
right.
We'll see how this Minnesota Timberwolves team responds on Tuesday for sure.
Right. And let me just say this real quick. Probably the closest guy who could be known as like a leader or the voice in the locker room could be Mike Conley. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. He's the veteran guy that's starting and getting a lot of time. He has a lot of playoff experience, so it makes a lot of sense. You see him right there. He was just he kind of just he shrugged it off because again, this happens often. This is a regular thing. You see guys argue and go at it, but once the shoving gets involved, that's obviously when you take it to a different level. So it could be Conley. Conley did just get there, so how much is his impact in terms of intangibles weighing on the team? We don't know, but Tuesday is going to be a big game because they're going to be showing this throughout the whole day up until that play-in game against the Lakers. Michael, what's up, man? You back?
Hey, how we doing today, guys?
Yes, sir.
You look like you're at like a retreat or something.
I'm on vacation right now. I'm kicking back and relaxing. Maybe it's called a green screen, but you know what? We're just chilling. We've had some issues today. That's why I'm a little bit late. We basically had technical issues. So even my headphones, this is really weird, but apparently me speaking doesn't come into my headset, but I can hear you guys. So this is odd, but you know what? Living the dream. After, we do this podcast, may go back here and play the piano a little bit, do my Mike Tyson impersonation, just living the dream, even see hoops, now that we got all these subscribers falling in on us, we're making it look big now. I mean, look at my new, my luxury house. This is my second house that I travel to, but going on as far as.
It looks nice.
I appreciate it. But going on as far as what you guys are talking about this, I don't know what all you all have said or what was brought up. Watching this live here, and at least watching the video live on our MNC Hoops podcast here, it looks to me really like it's just two people discussing what was going on, testosterone getting in the way, and just happening, reaction. I mean, to me, the Draymond Green punch was more of a problem than what happened here. Like, hey, you missed an assignment. Oh, man, I was there. I was rotating over. I was late. Oh, man, you knew you should have got him. That was the rotation. The plan. Man, don't you call me out like that. Hold up now, and then it's over with. Now, how did it go out from here? I don't know. And, of course, like you said, CJ, I do know you said this, it's going to keep being played out. Like, it's going to be made more of what it really was, probably more than what it was because of social media world. But that's cool. I actually like when this happens. Sometimes it can be good. I think back when I was in high school, there was a time when my junior year, we won our 13th region. Yeah, I know. Come on. But at the time, before we went into the district tournament, the local, we only had 4 schools in our district. And we actually had a losing record. There was one of our starting 5 against one of our, it was scrimmage. One player from the starting lineup and one player from the second string got in a heated moment because it was getting intense. But we knew it was turn-up time. But we had a losing record going into the playoffs. And that moment of that confrontation that they had, there was a couple punches swung, but, we separated them like, ho, that's it. Let's keep on playing, though. We actually took that momentum of what was going on. Like, we understood what was going on about that and turned it into more. And, like I said, we actually went to state that year. Now, there's so much more that went on about it. So sometimes this stuff can be good. So I like to see how it pans out from here. But that's just me saying that.
Yeah. Again, it's just we will see. We will see what happens. Another fight too that we could, is again between Bones Highland and Mason Plumlee, kind of a similar situation during the timeout. I don't know what you could be so upset about at this time, but I get it. Emotions run high. It's you're passionate and you're trying to win. But yeah, they went at it as well. They kind of got into each other's faces and just weird stuff. All right. So next news we got here is our guy Kenneth Lofton Jr.
Yes.
He gets called up and he signs a 4-year deal worth $7 million with the Memphis Grizzlies, and they played the Oklahoma City Thunder this afternoon, and he was able to play and showcase his talent. G League Rookie of the Year, and he goes out and he balls out. Has 42, 14 on 68% from the field, watched some of the highlights before we got on here. Just special. Definitely got to get that number 6 jersey.
I just want to jump in on this and say, back in the summer when we were talking about Rookie of the Years, I want to stand up, but I'm not really going to, and say that I was picking an undrafted player to win Rookie of the Year. Granted, I went with Lofton, who just now made it into the NBA as far as his contract. I don't know if y'all remember me picking him because you're like, wow, he's named on a team. This dude is special. And to come in and have 42 points, 14 rebounds, and 68 points, like, he is the Rookie of the Year. It's just of the wrong league. He's in the G League on that. So this dude, lefty, hefty. Lefty,
hefty. Why you say?
Of course, you have to love him. That's what I'm saying. Like he's just that characteristic of a player that everyone will fall in love with because one, just watch how he plays. It's just phenomenal watching. His IQ is so high, and it's just underrated. I think. I don't know how these scouts didn't notice him playing. Like I know he didn't go to a big college. I can't remember the college he went to, but I know it was a smaller college. But still, like the little bit that I got to see him, even in the summer leagues, back when we had Seth Greenberg back on our show. Shout out Seth Greenberg. Go check that out on our YouTube channel, MNC Hoops. Go check it out, YouTube. Anyways, I was talking about how great and special he was, CJ, and I remember you talking about seeing him play one time up there in New York. I think you watched him play and talked about his IQ. So I don't understand. Oh man. Look at my studio that I'm in right now, boys. I am out in LA living the dream in this. But Lofton has a huge career, and I don't even care. You know, people are going to say, oh, he needs to lose some weight or any of that stuff. The dude just came in the league and dropped 42 points on 68 shooting percentage. The dude is fit for the NBA now. He's solid. He's just young. I don't think they really knew what to expect of him. He got Rookie of the Year in the G League. So I'm so glad he's getting this opportunity. I hate how long is Adams going to be out?
He's out for the rest of the year. He's gone for the playoffs.
Okay. I didn't know if it was going to be in for the playoffs or not. So it's a next man up league. So Lofton, here's your time to shine. Honestly, when I seen that Adams was going to be out, and I thought it was going to be out like the first round, I was like, well, this might be the Grizzlies' first round bounce. Like I was saying, they'll probably be out. You're getting this spark of Lofton now who is showing, hey, this is what I can do. Now, of course, there are going to be some scattering reports start accumulating the more minutes that they get that some of these NBA teams like, okay, maybe we need to put him on notice a little bit or have him on notice a little bit and pay attention to him some. That some of these numbers obviously are going to decline some. So let's not jump the gun too much, but kudos to you. Glad you got that contract and glad you're in the NBA now. I just hope, does this still qualify him to be able to win Rookie of the Year next year?
No, it shouldn't.
Yeah, it's not. Unfortunately,
okay.
and that's okay. That's okay.
Because, I mean,
well, you got Wembanyama coming up, so that's going to be tough, anyways. But at the same time, I'm just saying because, like, you guys know, I've got backstop banter. We just started up last week. Like in baseball, if someone comes up like after the All-Star break, even though they can play, because like even as you're going into the playoffs, like they'll expand the roster for injuries purpose and different things like that. Some players that play X amount of games, they can actually still qualify as a Rookie of the Year for the next year. So I hadn't really thought about that too much because now that we have the G League, it's kind of a new territory in my opinion anyway. So what this could actually hold moving forward, I guess, because, you know, Lofton technically hasn't had the opportunity to be a rookie. Like he's just a call up, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he's been in and out of the rotation. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he spent time with the Grizzlies and the G League, so I mean, it wasn't like the same magnitude as like the top lottery picks, like Jaden Ivey, Paolo Banchero on these guys. But I mean, but he still has some time, you know, with this team through the course of the year. But honestly, like playing for a mid-major is like a gift and a curse, honestly, because for those who watched Kenneth Lofton in college, y'all knew that he had this talent. You know, a lot of people knew that he had this talent, but unfortunately, you know, he didn't play for like one of the Blue Bloods or any of like the top tier Division I teams. That, you know, he didn't get that recognition. So now he comes in, you know, he gets picked by the Grizzlies. He shows out in the summer league, showing the ball handling, the mobility, the passing, having the size, to play down low. Many people call him Baby Zebo. I can see the comparison in a way, but but in hindsight, he's had this talent, and the beauty of him is that his confidence is just continuing to rise for me, and I think that's the beauty of it. I had the luxury of watching him this past Wednesday. He ended up getting some playing time in the Grizzlies game against the Pelicans in New Orleans, and even though he didn't shoot the ball well, you still saw the confidence of taking the outside shot, or having the big defensive task of guarding a guy like maybe Jonas Valanciunas or Larry Nance Jr. or whoever it was. So we see the confidence that he has. And look, and it could probably stem from having a big G League season, and him obviously getting the opportunity to come back into the NBA. But Kenneth Lofton is a special talent. You know what I'm saying? With Steven Adams out, obviously he's going to get more minutes. I don't think he's going to fill that role of what Steven Adams was. Being a great rim protector and obviously being a defensive player of the year candidate. But this could be a really big moment for him. In the playoffs. Depending on how far the Grizzlies go. Just having that playoff experience, being able to see the floor, just having that time to really figure out, what it takes to win at a high level will be great for him. So, I'm definitely glad that, he was able to get that bag, get that contract, from the Grizzlies, and let's see what he can do moving forward.
He's a special basketball player. The fact that, he went undrafted, I really just don't understand a lot of these executives, and it just really goes to show. Just because you have that job doesn't mean you know basketball. And he's been special. I watched him even in high school before he went to Louisiana Tech. He was going at it with Chet and the King of the Courts. That's all of that stuff is on YouTube. You guys can check that out and watch those one-on-ones that he had with Chet when they were with Team USA going up against Wembanyama, Team France. Early days before anybody even knew about any of these guys. You can just check out the talent. It was endless. And he's a lefty. He could get to his spots. Great footwork. Reminds me a lot of Zebo, Al Jefferson. Just two guys.
Al Jefferson. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It might not have the elite athleticism, but had the elite footwork and post moves and skill, and to make up for that. And he's going to be special, man. Obviously, the outside shooting is going to be the thing that he's going to have to work on. The mid-range, the three-pointers. Defensively, if he gets a lot of minutes, he has to be able to guard pick and roll defense, talk on that side, show, move his feet laterally to get to certain spots, contest, do things like that. We know the offensive rebounding is there. He's going to have to find other ways to be impactful because he's not going to have the same amount of shots that he had today. So if he wants to get more minutes, it's going to be the little things he does defensively, offensively, crashing the glass. Then once he does those things and, he gets the trust of the coaches, now his offensive game can start to open up and we can see the talent that we saw in Louisiana Tech and obviously in the G League of him winning G League Rookie of the Year. And like we saw tonight, but this afternoon. So he's very talented. I wish him the best. Definitely. I was shocked that he went undrafted. I really was. You telling me there's 60 players better than him last year? That's
the thing with the scouts. Stop looking at Division I teams where there's a lot of other talents out there, man. Y'all just got to really pay close attention, man. Whether it's G League Ignite, whether it's mid majors, bro, pay attention. There's a lot of elite talent out here besides the Blue Bloods and other big schools.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point, bro. That's a great point, and he's maximizing on his opportunity. He got the opportunity to go to the G League. It was like, okay, any people get that opportunity, they look at it and say, oh man, I'm in the G League. That's it. It's over for me. No, he used it as an opportunity to get better, work on his game, and he had a great award from that. And now he's getting called up, got a long-term contract with the Grizzlies, and he's going to get some minutes. Maybe I don't know if it's going to be this year, but definitely next year. And you got to give a lot of credit to the Memphis Grizzlies, their front office. Taylor Jenkins, those guys at the top, and the executives, they find these guys. they find these guys under the radar. Conchar, Rudy, Roby, these dudes that you really never heard of, but they fit into the system. They come in and make an impact. So credit to the Grizzlies and credit to him for maximizing his opportunities.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Do you think he has the most impact as far as? Oh, appreciate that, by the way.
Appreciate that. Thank you, brother.
Do you think he has the most impact on this team, or would you think he can be considered the X factor for this Grizzly team now?
I mean, I can't go that far with X factor because it just he played a Thunder team that really didn't play their guys, but I do think with minutes playing up against starters or second unit guys, he could definitely be impactful and get to his spots. He could be a guy that could shock some people because he does have the strength and he does have a skill set that a lot of power forwards aren't ready for defensively, that they're not used to guarding. So and with the confidence, like Nick said at the top of his statement, now that he has this confidence, he could make some plays. He could have an impact. It's looking like they're going to play the Lakers in that 2-7 matchup. Mm-hmm. It's going to be exciting. I do think he'll have some solid games, but I can't go X factor right now. But I think next year, when he's more integrated into the offense and his teammates trust him more, the coaches trust him more, I think we'll start to see him flourish.
Flat Sports, real quick, just want to give a shout out if you're still in here. Hit us up in any of the DMs, man, if you want to collaborate anytime. We love networking, having guests on here. We've been reaching out to somebody. We'd love to have you on, talk some more playoffs next week, by the way, for sure. And look at this background now, guys. Is that not cool? Yeah.
Yes, sir. That's a great background.
Is that nice?
Looking much better.
Why you can tell we don't got it?
Than the living room.
I had to step outside in the house that I have. I've got a section on my outside wall, my brick wall. I've got a laser from my grass. Yeah, it's pointed up. It's just laser lights of the logo. You didn't know that, man?
I'm not technical, man.
You really think I have that, Nick? I really don't have that. That's.
You know what I'm saying. I mean, you got the cup and everything. I didn't even get a cup till like 8 months after.
It's green screen, man. See that?
Yeah, it's the green screen.
Nice I get it
right there.
But what I do have is this beautiful cup that also has the logo that you guys have as well. We'll do a little quick promo, guys. If you're watching on Facebook, on our personal Facebook, if you're watching on, let's see here, YouTube, which hopefully you've already subscribed, but if you're seeing a preview later on Instagram or you're listening to on podcasts, go to our YouTube channel, and that's, of course, youtube.com/@MNCHoops. Go subscribe, turn on that notification, and once we reach to 100, we were at 37 when we started this, and we've already gained 10 within a week, which we know we're small on that YouTube. That's why we're pushing on that. Once we get to 100, we're going to randomly pick a winner from our subscribers and send you a cup. So get on that if you want the first merch ever sent of the MNC Hoops Cup.
Yes, indeed. All right, let's transition to me, my opinion, the most disappointing team in the NBA this season. This season, the Dallas Mavericks. So Dallas Mavericks, they missed the playoffs this year after going to the Western Conference Finals last year. They acquired
Brunson.
Yeah, they lose Jalen Brunson, and then at the trade deadline, they go and acquire Kyrie Irving. A lot of expectations. People think this it's going to propel them maybe beyond the Western Conference Finals, maybe a Finals appearance based on how they played last year, and it was complete opposite, a complete disaster. I'm gonna start with Michael here, man. What's your thoughts on this Dallas Mavericks situation?
Do what? Oh, hang on 1 second. Oh yeah, come on in, man. Just go ahead and have a seat. I've got somebody coming in. Got someone joining in with us, guys. Hang on, let me get this. Let me move out of the way here. Hey, Luka. Luka's coming to hang out with us, guys. Since he's going to pretty much be casual with us now because the season's done with. I don't know what really happened over there with them, but Luka's going to start hanging out, maybe join the show with us a few times. Luka, are you upset with really how things panned out? I mean, you guys were what? They were up all the way up to the 5th seed, I think it was, and then kind of crashed out there. I don't know what really went on. And then what about this? We got the scandalous investigation that's going on as well. Do you think that they tanked on purpose here at the end? Because there's even rumors now that Luka's not happy.
Let's talk about that, Michael. Sorry not to cut you off, but let's talk about that because last week you were talking about how LeBron supposedly always quits on his teams.
Hey,
when you look at this situation, you can make a case they quit.
I'm 100% with you. That's why I said, do you think they tanked on purpose on this? 100%. But I don't think this was, and here's my defense to attack LeBron is, like, they benched them. Like, they rest them on a game that was for them to fight to get in. It wasn't like, hey, I'm hurt, let me myself sit out. Like, it was a few players. Like, that was from the front office that quit. So that's what I think is kind of crazy about this. Like, obviously, the NBA, as CJ's got this tweet posted up, the NBA has launched an investigation, a roster decision in the last night's Bulls-Mavs game. I don't know how many were actually chose to sit out or rest because they only have one more game. I don't think you really have to rest for that. But here's
they took their starters out for both of those games, for tonight's game against the Spurs and that Friday game against the Bulls.
So it was both games. Okay. I misunderstood that. I thought it was one game. So, yeah, like we know now, too, that there's reports that Luka isn't happy there, and there's a chance that he may request a trade. I'm going to talk to him after this and see if he'll let me know. But, he's on Twitter right now talking back and forth with people. But it's really weird what's going on down in Dallas because this is like the first time I think until like 95 that we don't have a single Tennessee, Texas team in the playoffs. But like Luka's upset. Luka has even said, quote, "It's very frustrating when you're not winning." And now this whole resting the games. There's trouble in Dallas. Now, today I seen about 2 hours ago, he says, "I love it here. I'm fine." So you can leave it at that. So it sounds like he's okay. It's just, to me, is the whole organization turning their back on Kyrie because Kyrie's already said that he's going to touch or what am I trying to say? That he's going to test free agency. Yeah. There we go. And maybe they're thinking, well, we just want to go ahead and get rid of him and quit now to see how much higher we can get because if he tests his free agency, we can get out and maybe get a higher pick. I don't know. I just can't believe that Mark Cuban – I'm not saying I think I'm with that, but I'm just saying what's going on is crazy because Mark Cuban doesn't look to me like he's ever been a quitter in his life. Like, he's the Shark Tank king. He's made the Dallas a top team in the NBA when they're not that big of a money-making he's made them a marketing genius, I think, down there. Like, you have LA and you have New York, but then you can always think of Dallas, which is not really much of a basketball location. Like, when you think of Texas, in my opinion, you think of San Antonio. But Mark Cuban has single-handedly made Dallas relevant year in and year out just by marketing schemes and keeping them relevant. So I don't know what's going on here, but I can't wait because to me, this is one of the most big soap operas of what's going on. What is happening in this locker room and front office, and I can't wait to figure it out because if Luka wants a trade, that would be big this offseason. And where's he going? Or who's going to come to Dallas to make him happy and want to stay? Because that, to me, is the next move.
You don't think Kyrie would get him happy?
I mean, if Kyrie's already saying he's going to test free agency, and the only thing that changed is Kyrie coming, and then they go, what was it, like 7 of 28? Or 28 games at 7 and 18? I don't know. I'm somewhere of that. I mean, big losing.
So I'll be real. So I actually have the record. So before the trade deadline, let me grab it in my notes. So before the trade, the Mavs were at 29. Right, yes. So the Mavs were 29 and 26 before the trade went down. 3 games over 500. Cool. In the playoff seeding. After that, they went 9 and 15.
9 and 15. 8 and 17 or whatever I said. I was close at least.
9 and 15. So what happened was the main reason why they sat out these games was because if they lose these games, they get the top 10 pick. And if they were to win the games, then the Knicks get that pick because of the Porzingis trade and back in 2019.
There's the drama. Okay.
Right. So, they can still keep Kyrie. So what they want to do is re-sign Kyrie, get a top 10 pick. I don't know if they want to use that top 10 pick to get another player, or they feel like they want to get someone in the draft and pair them up with Kyrie and Luka. This has been a disaster. Let's just start. Before you even start with Brunson, which was also some other news. The way Mark Cuban came out and said, the negotiation started to go downhill once Rick Brunson and his father got involved. Let's start with back when he didn't re-sign Nash, right?
Okay.
And he messed up, and he should have kept Nash and Dirk together as a duo. He thought Nash was too old. He thought Nash was too injury prone, and then we see the Hall of Fame career.
And then what happened right after he left? 2 MVPs.
Right, exactly. Then we saw the Hall of Fame career that Nash had in Phoenix, and Dirk didn't go in. I mean, Dirk had one MVP in that process as well, but didn't win a championship until 2010. Then from 2010 to the time Dirk retired in 2019, they weren't good. They weren't really
first
good.
Round just about every year.
They didn't, and then after getting bounced out, they were poverty. They were poverty with Dirk there. Dirk got hurt, but they didn't do a great job of drafting. They didn't do a great job of putting guys around Dirk towards the end of his career, and they were trash, which led to a top pick when they got Luka Doncic. And they get Luka Doncic, and he's a special player. We know all the numbers that he's had. Young, one of the best players in the NBA. Last year, we saw Jalen Brunson emerge in the playoffs. That series against Utah, played really well against Phoenix, and had a really solid series against Golden State as well in the Western Conference Finals. They had 2 opportunities to sign him to a 3-year, $55 million extension. They decided not to. They decided to wait. I guess they felt like they didn't need to give him an extension. He was going to sign either way. No one was going to give him more than $55 million. Boy, were they wrong. And he goes to the New York Knicks, and we know the type of season that the Knicks have had this season, and now the Mavericks are out of the playoffs with Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. This is one of the most disappointing. They're the most disappointing team in the NBA. It's no doubt about it. Just based on where they were last year to where they are now, and what happens going forward, you have to look at Mark Cuban obviously for dropping the ball and not doing everything possible to re-sign Brunson. Have to look at Nico Harrison, president of basketball operations, for again, plays a part in that as well. It's not re-signing Brunson. You make the Kyrie trade. I feel like you didn't have to make the Kyrie trade. You were really a pretty solid team. You had some solid wings. If you wanted to get a guy like Kyrie, you could have waited until the offseason where he was free and you don't give up any assets. You don't give up any draft picks. And now you have Kyrie, Dorian Finney-Smith, Dinwiddie, and all those guys. You're obviously going to get rid of Christian Wood. Mark Cuban already pretty much alluded to that already in an interview earlier this week. He said the top priority is re-signing Kyrie, and then they asked him about Christian Wood. He said, "You're not going to talk about other players." So that's how he feels about that. And so yeah, they've handled this wrong. They've handled this wrong, and it's unfortunate. And I understand why he's coming out and being so vocal now, especially these last few weeks, because fans are on him. Dallas local radio is on him. Because they're looking at it like, bro, we was just in the Western Conference Finals last year. We beat a 64-18 team in the Phoenix Suns, and on their home floor by 40. And now we bring in Kyrie, and we're not even in the playoffs. And so, of course, he has to come out and say something. He can't be silent. And, this is what he's doing right now. He's trying to save face. Is it going to work? We'll see. It's just sad, man. It really is sad. And there's no guarantee you're going to keep Kyrie. We know Kyrie is a different breed. He's a different breed. And he moves to his own wave. So just because he may say he's going to re-sign today doesn't mean he's going to re-sign July 1st. So, but they put themselves in this predicament. They put themselves in this situation, so they have no one to blame but themselves. So, do I feel bad? No. And so we'll see what happens with the Mavericks this offseason. This is a big offseason for this team.
Yep. I will be honest. I was on record. When Kyrie did request a trade out of Brooklyn, I did say one of the leading candidates that should go and grab Kyrie is the Dallas Mavericks. I thought it was essential to pair Luka next to another star caliber player. And I was like, what other guy can you have than Kyrie, who's a sensational player, a great ball handler, great scorer, great three-level scorer. So I was like, you know what? Why not get Kyrie? However, once the trade actually went down, I was on record saying, because we all had this debate of who was going to be the better team, Phoenix or Dallas, and I was saying Phoenix all day. Not even just because they have Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton, but I was looking at Dallas's lineup or the roster, and I said, man, they practically almost gutted their roster just to get Kyrie. Their supporting cast, at least like the key contributors in their supporting cast is gone: Dorian Finney-Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie, and a few other guys. So now you got other guys like, and look, I'm a big fan of guys like Tim Hardaway Jr., Christian Wood, and Maxi Kleber and the rest of these guys, but I just knew that this was not going to be the right supporting cast that was going to help Dallas elevate to really become true playoff contenders. Did I expect them to miss the playoffs? I didn't expect that by any means, but I think that's going to be the biggest thing. I mean, obviously re-signing Kyrie is a priority for Mark Cuban, but how can you really revamp this roster to really build a better team around your dynamic duo in Luka and Kyrie? And if they can't do that, I wouldn't be surprised if Luka requests a trade soon. And to be honest, I'm not even really too high on Kyrie even re-signing with Dallas to begin with. I don't even know if that was really like the first option that he wanted to go to. So especially, with this situation happening with them missing the playoffs, I don't really give it a high chance of him even re-signing with the team.
Yeah, and again, they did this to themselves. And could he ask for a trade? I already saw the rumors. I try not to. You got to really take these things that you see on Twitter with a grain of salt, especially if it's not reported by someone credible.
Thanks.
There have been some talks about him asking for a trade in 2024. I don't know, but they need to. This is a big off season for Mark Cuban, Nico Harrison, and these guys, and they're gonna have to figure some things out. They have a 69% chance of getting a top 10 pick, so that looks to be like something that's gonna happen for them. So we'll see what happens there. But man, it's just sad, man. It really is. You got all that talent, and you're just not able to. Not even to get to the playoffs is crazy. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, I'm just going to say this at least about it. My only thing is the whole Kyrie thing. I mean, they were 8 and 15, we said. So, that's not even really 30 games together. And I'm not really doing the math quick. I mean, 15 is 30. So, we didn't even really get to see this duo play that much. So I don't even think that we can, on fair judgment, say that the Kyrie Luka can't really work well together. We don't know. We've not seen them play. So I'm fine because even the games that they played, they were hurt. Some of them, one or the other was out or hurt or resting. So I want to see, man, that's a beautiful cup, by the way. I want to see what moves they make during the offseason to add to this lineup. Kyrie and Luka, I personally think they can make it work if they can figure out who is to lead and be the alpha and what are the steps to moving forward. Wood, he had good moments. He had a lot of bad moments too. We know that some of the shooters they lost. I mean, we talked about this many times. Luka needs help. Well, he got his help, but the help he got didn't play with him enough, in my opinion. And when he did play with him, they didn't have enough time to gel together. Even LeBron, anytime he's ever switched and had his teammates come together, he's had those bonding issues for a learning curve, if you will, to where they can get together. Even, of course, it's the same person, but Kyrie and KD. It took them a little while before they could actually play well together. I mean, yes, it didn't pan out the best once that everything was done because they
honestly, I honestly wouldn't say it took them that long to to mesh, honestly, because I mean, you got to remember, KD missed that whole first year as he was rehabbing that injury, and then like once KD actually came back, I thought they played pretty well. So I mean, it's like I think what it really was like injury, and then of course Kyrie missing a lot of time was part of the reason why they weren't really able to do a lot. But on the court, I felt like they were able to mesh well.
But I mean, that's still time. Like, I mean, injury is a part of it. Is what I was referring to. Like, it took them forever to play well together. I mean, because injury or not, like 80%, like they're probably playing pickup, so they had that time to play together outside of the NBA playing on the court where we in front of our eyes. Like they had that whole year where, hey, take it easy, let's just do some shoot around bonding. They probably went to movies, Hey, let's go watch Super Mario Brothers because it was awesome. And, build a chemistry. They had that year. Well, Luka and Kyrie hasn't been able to go watch Super Mario Brothers together yet. Let's give them that time. Keep it together, and let's see what we can make this team be. But, again, this offseason, I think it's going to be super drama for them to see what pans out. And I'm ready with my $5 bucket of popcorn that I can buy anytime I go back to the movies now.
Yeah, they're in the same position the Nets were in.
Yep.
Going into this offseason, they're in the same position the Nets were in.
And unfortunately, there's a common denominator.
Yeah, Kyrie. Yeah, and again, I mean, I'm not the blame Kyrie for everything guy. That's not how I move. I understand there's a lot of factors into a team's success or failure, and but when you look at the resume post Cleveland, hasn't looked good. It hasn't looked good for him, and that's something that people are going to talk about, whether you're a fan of him or not. It's just a factor. It's happened, and again, it's just all eyes will be on the Mavericks this offseason for sure. All right, let's get something more positive. Let's talk about some NBA awards. Our NBA awards. This has been a great season, great regular season. We've seen some players rise to the occasion. We've seen some guys come out of nowhere, step up, and make some big plays. It had a really good year. Top three in MVP, obviously being Joel Embiid, Jokic, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, and so many other awards. Let's start with Coach of the Year.
Coach of the Year. Right over here, that's his trophy, what it'll look like, is hands down in my eye, the Kings coach, Brown. Like, the Kings are relevant all year, third place, consistency. It's hands down Coach Brown. No argument, don't even try. Just say, you're right, Michael, let's go.
Nick, you got any arguments, man?
I'll
go with Mike Brown, too. I'll go with him too. I mean,
there's no argument.
This is. I mean, even though they didn't have the best record in the NBA, and I mean, I know people may make an argument for a guy like Mike Malone or Joe Mazzulla or even Coach Bud out in Milwaukee. But I think the most impactful coach this year has been Mike Brown. Like for him to come into that organization his first year and rejuvenate this Kings team. De'Aaron Fox, in many people's eyes, was an MVP caliber player this year, had a monster season. Domantas Sabonis had a great season. For him to rejuvenate this team and make them a playoff contender, and for them to be the 3 seed in a tough Western Conference, I definitely feel like he should. I think that he needs to be Coach of the Year. Like that's my candidate as well.
What about you, CJ?
Yeah, definitely. We're 3 for 3 there for Mike Brown. For all the reasons you guys just explained. OKC's head coach also, I think, was gonna have some consideration getting into the play-in. They're such a young team. I think their average age is 22.8 years old. So their future is very bright for them. And again, they don't even have Chet yet. So the untapped potential for that team is very high. JB Bickerstaff over there in Cleveland, they brought in. They showed flashes last year. Okay, they could be really good. They were the 3rd seed for a little bit. Dropped to the play-in. They bring in Donovan Mitchell, and they pretty much held that 4th spot down in the Eastern Conference the whole entire season. One of the best. You could go back and listen to our MNC reels. Michael did a great job of breaking down how well they were defensively this year with their lineup, with their twin towers in there with Mobley and Jared Allen, and then the 2 scoring backcourts with the scoring backcourts in and Garland and Donovan Mitchell. So I think Bickerstaff Bickerstaff is going to get some love. Some of the obviously the top guys that are like Budenholzer, Missoula for sure. But I think all in all, it's definitely going to go to Mike Brown. He had a phenomenal season, and turning this Sacramento Kings franchise around, he plays a big factor in that. So he deserves it. Most improved player of the year, Michael. Who you got?
Most improved player.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This one's going to be tough for me because if you've ever watched the show, guys, you know that there for a while we did a running MIP and MVP, and SGA is who I had most of the time because how well he played. But deep down in my gut, I feel like marketing is going to be the one that wins it. I feel like SGA should win it because he continued to grow since he's been in the NBA, and I feel like he made a big leap this year to be the leader. But I also think what's going to hurt him is last year's winner was Ja Morant and the
Memphis Grizzlies.
No, the backlash that he winning it got. Basically, as a superstar, to me, your all-star player shouldn't really be the most improved player in most cases. So I don't think Ja Morant should have been the winner last year, and I think that's going to hurt SGA in this year. So I think it's actually going to be marketed, but I would be voting for SGA.
I think you can go a few ways, honestly. SGA, that's the thing. The criteria of the most improved player award is not the same as what it once was. To me, I always viewed the most improved player as like a guy who may have came into the league, his first 3 years struggled to really find his footing, and then had that 1 year where he may have became an all-star, may have been a top scoring option. That's the way that I view it. But honestly, you can go a lot of ways as far as the most improved player award. You can go with SGA, you can go with Lowry. I would even consider a guy like Tyrese Halliburton in that list. I don't consider a guy like Nick Claxton in that list per se. I'm looking at CJ's face. But honestly,
even Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, Mikal Bridges too. Honestly, Mikal Bridges could have been a candidate, but I feel like it's kind of, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of too late.
Short.
That's what I'm saying. It's only been for like a few months. I mean, definitely kudos to him, and I'm definitely excited to see what his future is like in Brooklyn. But I'm probably gonna go with Larry Marketing. I think throughout this entire year, with him being that number one option for the Utah Jazz, even though they didn't make the playoffs, but they got off to a pretty good start throughout this season, and he was at least the driving force throughout this year for Utah. So he may not be the winner, but I'll probably pick him if I had a vote.
And CJ says Brunson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why did I not see this? Why did I not see this?
I don't know.
I mean, if we're talking about the phrase most improved, I mean, again, he improved as a player. Career high in assists, field goals, 3-point percentage, 17 30-point games. I mean, you can't be mad at it. He's literally improved as a player, and he improved his team that he went to. You talk about marketing, they didn't make the playoffs. Now, you could say politics or, they chose not to make the playoffs. Okay. Wow. And then, so Brunson goes to the Knicks. They're the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. And he's literally the reason why they're in that position. Top 5 in efficiency in isolation for field goal percentage. I mean, it's just you talk about the word most improved. I mean, he went from being a second option in Dallas, being a guy that people viewed as being overpaid. Why did the Knicks pay for him? He's not that good. He's not going to do anything for the franchise. He's a piece, but he's not a savior. And he comes into this season, his first year being the point guard of a team, being the guy. And they're 5th in the Eastern Conference, going to a new conference, going to a city with a lot of pressure, a lot of pressure, the market, everything. The fans are, clamoring for any type of success, and that's exactly what he brought to the city. It shouldn't even be a question, honestly. Marketing, he had a great start to the season, and it looked likely that he was going to win it. But this should be Jalen Brunson's award. It's not even close. You can't give me any other candidate that deserves it more than him. You can't name me one.
What you got to say, Michael? SGA?
I think SGA definitely is right up there with you because OKC was trying to tank, and because of SGA, ended up making the playoffs. But I
Play in.
I mean, it's still the playoffs, but I mean,
not really.
No,
It's not the playoffs.
I
It's not the playoffs.
I mean, okay, it's fine, but still, like, I'm not going to argue that Brunson doesn't deserve it because, you know, my same reason when I say for SGA why I don't think you win it is because of Ja Morant. It's why I think Brunson won't win it either. Like, I think they messed up giving it to an all-star last year in Ja Morant. But I'm okay with the Brunson because he went from not being the all-star on that team to being the lead person for that team. I'm just telling you, in my gut, and that's the only reason why I have it, is just a gut feeling that I don't think that they'll give it to the number one player for that team. And, you know, Markkanen is the number one, but he came on the uprise from that. So, but like he's improving. I'm telling you, I got a hunch, and when I'm right, I want to say, guys, go back to this clip because
I know, but you're contradicting yourself, and you caught yourself just now.
Hey, I'm a living contradiction, so it happens. All right.
I mean, I hear you, man. And again, Markkanen and SGA, they had great seasons, but one didn't make the playoffs, and the other one could possibly miss the playoffs. Brunson came in there. The Knicks were the 11th seed last year, and now they're the 5th seed. And they only brought in a couple guys is the difference. Now, yes, players got better, but Brunson was the key reason why they're one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. It's just a fact. They play isolation basketball, 4 out, 1 in. I don't like the scheme. I've talked about it ad nauseum on the show, but with him in there and his efficiency, he definitely he makes that offense much more fluid and he makes it efficient, and that's why they win. He doesn't turn the ball over. But this award is not even close, man. If we're really talking about most improved, it should be no other question. We've seen SGA have flashes of greatness. We've seen him average 25 already, 25 plus already in the league. Markkanen, yeah, he came out of nowhere. He was in Cleveland. He's with the Bulls. He was injured in Chicago. Went to Cleveland. It was tricky there. He showed some flashes there as well. He went to you. There was no expectations for the Jazz. None. Zero. No one thought the Jazz. Everybody, as soon as they traded both of those guys, Gobert and Mitchell, they're gonna tank. Wembanyama, tank for Victor. Tank. That's all we heard. And then once the season started, Markkanen came out of nowhere and started playing well. But the expectations for the Knicks wasn't tank for Wembanyama when they signed Jalen Brunson. It was get to the playoffs, and that's exactly what he did. He delivered. He answered. He did everything possible and some. He's the number one option. He turned himself into a number one option after being a second option, after being, pretty much a castaway in Dallas. They didn't want him. And now he comes to New York and look what he's done for the city. Come on, man. Stop it.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this. And it's
crazy.
So I don't want to spend way too much time on it. But, like, most improved means the player improved from what they were last year. Brunson's numbers jumped. But did he really improve, or did he just have more time to actually shine? Like he had the opportunity. Do you think that'll play any factor? Because I don't think Brunson took any leap of improving as a player. He just was, hey, now I'm on a team where I'm the man instead of having Luka, and I'm in his shadows. And I'm not trying to. Just because
you get more opportunity doesn't mean you excel.
Okay, and I'm asking that because I'm asking, do you think that'll hinder him any? Like, do you think voters may look at it that way?
If they shouldn't be voting, then if that's what they're thinking about, like, are you serious? Like that's your mindset in order for most improved? Mm-hmm. Is that because he got more opportunity? Yeah, okay. If you got more opportunity and you played well with the opportunity, that means you improved.
Okay. So, like I said, I'm not upset with Brunson winning it, because he has had a phenomenal year, and he was in my top 5 a few times, but then. As we went on, I said, I feel like Markkanen has made such different numerical jumps since last year, where he was with other teams and being traded. I feel like he will be the winner, even though I don't like it. It should be SGA, not Brunson, but it is what it is.
I mean, I don't see how a guy that's not in the playoffs he's not in the playoffs. I guess he didn't clinch. He didn't clinch. They didn't clinch anything.
He could be in the playoffs.
Yeah, but we're in the playoffs.
I don't think he's getting in. It's not fair.
There's no could. And like I said, SGA is a special player. He's a great talent, but come on, man, stop it. 6th man of the year. Again, I mean, you can call me biased, but I mean, this has been a special season for the Knicks. I don't know what you want me to say. I mean, Emmanuel quickly. I don't know. I mean, when you're fifth in the East, a couple guys are going to get some awards, man. It's just a fact. 15 points per game, 45% from the field, 38% from three. Had a 40-point game, career high. Had a 39-point game. He's coming and he started anytime that Brunson was out or RJ was out. He's in the starting lineup. He steps up, doesn't miss a beat. Malcolm Brogdon. It's between those two guys. It's a 2-man race. It's really that's between those two guys. They might go with Brogdon because Brogdon I would say he played better early on. He's been a little bit more consistent throughout the season. But I want to say pretty much since late November, December to now, Quickly's been right there with Brogdon. So I'm gonna go with Emmanuel Quickly. Easy choice for me.
It's crazy, man, because CJ's on this Knicks train right now, but
it's a Knicks train. What am I saying that's wrong?
No, I mean, that's the thing I'm about to get into. Like, I actually agree with that. I think IQ is the 6th man of the year. I mean, I think the energy that he brings off the bench. You know, you brought up his numbers and everything. You know, I think all we wanted to see was IQ just really flourish within this Knicks system, and I think this was the year where he definitely did it at a high level. So I give it to IQ as well.
I think it's Malcolm's. That's all I'm saying. I feel like Malcolm has been it all year. I said it also in my short with the top 5 why Boston has a chance is because he is the front runner for the 6th man of the year. So I think it's Brogdon.
No stats, nothing. Just I think it's Brogdon. That's it.
I'm correct.
I'm correct.
All right, man. I don't know. All right, let's get the defensive player of the year. I'm going with Brook Lopez. He's done a great job this year protecting the basket. Milwaukee really, with him playing well, really put them in. He's really a big factor in them getting to that first seed in the Eastern Conference. His rim protection has been phenomenal. Giannis has missed some games, and he's come in and stepped up not only just defensively but also offensively as well. He's had a great year. It's definitely one of the best years of his career, and that's saying a lot because he's had some good seasons since being a New Jersey Net, and then went to the Lakers and had up and down, and now he's with Milwaukee. He's a champion, as we know. He's been a game changer. He's been a game changer for them defensively. So I'm going with Brook Lopez.
I want to go with Jaren Jackson Jr. And this is a guy who I wanted to pick last year. I think he got snubbed last year. I'll just be real. When you talk about the versatility on defense, with the mobility and to be able to guard multiple positions. Not saying that Brook Lopez is not great at that, because I'll definitely give him his credit for that. But I feel like this should be an award for Jaren Jackson Jr. I think he is one of the anchors to the defense. Him and Steven Adams in the front court, for the Grizzlies, and I feel like this should be his year to win it.
I will also agree with Nick on this one. I think politically he has stepped up and made and made his case on a lot of social medias. There's videos out where it's getting the attentions, and I think people have him on notice of his defense. Even with the Kyrie, him breaking it down during some of the games, pre-game and all that, I think he has worked himself into this award.
Yeah, that Triple J definitely is going to be in contention for it for a very long time. Special player. Last but not least, we got to go MVP. We'll start with Michael here. Who you got?
So y'all go first.
This is not a hard decision, in my opinion.
Not a hard decision.
It's not.
I really don't want to say Joel Embiid at all.
Go with your gut, man.
I really think Giannis is going to win it. Number one, all year has played well, so versatile. And like I said in many times in the past, they usually give it to the person with a top team off or a ranked team.
Like last year?
I said usually.
Oh.
I put in the word usually because, Booker wasn't even in there with the Suns last year, who deservingly should have been there. But I feel like Giannis will win it.
Okay.
Or he is let me say it that way, because I think Joel Embiid will win it. But Giannis is my MVP. There we go.
Go ahead, CJ.
This has been
pretty obvious.
I love this not agreeing with everybody. This is so much fun.
It's pretty obvious, man. I gotta go with Joel Embiid. Just had a phenomenal year. Here's the thing: I want to break this narrative right now, right? Because people talked about the games and the games played. So Joel played 63 games. Jokic played 65. Giannis played 68. So that narrative of guys, this guy is not playing games. The discrepancy of games of all three of those guys missed is very small. So we can debunk that right now. See what happens when you just don't watch these other people and just do your homework, right? So we can debunk that, right? Back-to-back scoring champion. He's been healthy majority of the season. He's their best player defensively, two-way ability. You talk about most valuable player. You want to look at a valuable player on both ends of the basketball. What he does defensively is, come on, he's phenomenal. He could be a defensive player of the year candidate as well for his style of play and his defense, his ability to block shots. The most gifted scoring big man ever. Tell me who else is on his level. Let's hear it.
Don't look at me. I agree.
Did I disagree? I'm thinking.
No, I mean it could be rhetorical or not.
I don't know. I want to see him win.
I want to see him win, but I'm saying I'm talking about his skill set.
Oh yeah, I mean he's definitely gifted. That's for sure.
Yes, I'm not success as a player in terms of team success. Mm-hmm. I agree, but we're talking about regular season award, right? Mm-hmm. And again, I'm saying his skill set as a scorer at his size, the touch, shooting 80% from the free throw line. We've seen centers get 40, 50%. Could never even touch 80. He gets fouled. People talk about him getting fouled. Yeah, he's going to get fouled because he's a skilled player. You have to foul him. If you're trying to guard him, you can't stop him. You have to put him on the free throw line. He's going to get fouled, and he's knocking down his free throws. So you're mad at him for knocking down his free throws? That's insane. That's insane. So he's just 3-level scorer. Get to the post, put the ball on the floor. He's worked on his passing. He's become a much better passer as well. 33, 10, and 4 on the season. 55% from the field. Like what are we doing? This is not a sympathy award. This is what I've heard a lot of so-called experts, so-called analysts, so-called people that know the game of basketball. They love that they're starting to use this a sympathy. It's not a sympathy award. He deserves it, just like if Giannis won it or if Jokic won it. He was runner-up 2 years in a row. This is not some flash in the pan season where he's come out of nowhere. It's not, let's give it to Joel Embiid because he hasn't won it. He's the MVP this year. Stop it. Let's stop it. We're trying to nitpick and find every little thing and move the goalpost to figure out why he can't win the award. I already debunked the game. I already debunked the games played. That's over. It's clipped for that. So now let's talk about everything else. And you want to put him up with Giannis. The year Giannis had this year was better than any of his MVP seasons. Okay, that's great. And if he wins it, would I be over the hill and say mad or get upset? No, but I feel like, again, the season that Embiid has had, he had a 59, 11, 7, and 8 game. What? He almost had a 60-point quadruple double. And what are we talking about? What are we talking about, man? What are we talking about?
I'll even go as far as saying, and it seems that I don't know the facts, but Embiid's won most of the head-to-heads too against the top MVPs.
And people talked about he ran from Jokic. All three of those guys have towards the end of the season, they're not going to play these guys because they want them to be fresh towards the postseason. Is that Embiid's fault? No. So we're going to use that against him. Earlier in the season when they went up against each other, when the Nuggets came to Philadelphia, 47-18 on Jokic. 47-18. And he played and Embiid and Harden, they did a great job and they snapped Milwaukee's winning. I think it was a 16-game win streak in the season. So if we're talking about narratives, we're talking about stories throughout the season, things that actually happen in the game in basketball, and not all these, all these other trash narratives that a lot of these, people want to come up with on social media and these people on TV. If we're talking strictly basketball, man, I'm going with Joel Embiid for the 2022-23 most valuable player.
Boom. All righty, so my turn now. So we got Michael who picked Giannis. We got CJ who picked Joel Embiid. So you know what? I gotta be different. You know what I'm saying? We gotta branch out, man. I'm gonna go with the Joker.
You're muted, brother.
Am I muted?
No, Michael's muted.
Oh, Michael's muted. Okay. I'm gonna go with the Joker on this one. Just to make things interesting. Just to make things interesting, man. I mean, let me read off some numbers for y'all, man. 24.5 points. Not one of the top league scores, but pretty good. 11, nearly 12 rebounds, 11.8 rebounds. Phenomenal. 9.8 assists.
Phenomenal.
So we're talking about a 59, a nearly 59 point triple double or whatever. This guy here's been doing it all year, baby. This guy's been doing it all year.
Yo, you don't even believe what you're saying, bro. Like, you don't even believe what you're saying.
Even on top of that, hang on. Even on top of that, 63% from the field. Who's doing that? Like the last person we saw do that was Zion 2 years ago. And now this guy's doing it at a high level, man. So, actually, no, I'm trolling. To be honest, I don't even care who wins the MVP award. I'm not even going to lie to you. All three of these guys are having a phenomenal year. I think you can give to either one of these guys. But I will say this, though.
Don't not pick.
I will say this, though. Like, if Joel Embiid does win it, I would definitely be happy for him. Because, I mean, look, he's had a phenomenal season. I've been on record saying that he is the best offensive big in the NBA right now. You can't even make an argument with that. Not Jokic, not Karl-Anthony Towns, not anybody, comes close to him, even the game this past week against Boston when he dropped 52, like some of the moves that he was making was insane. Like, the turnaround, like
bring that
bro,
up.
bro, like I ain't gonna lie, this man made like a turnaround, like made a turnaround jumper. I'm like, yo, like this is like almost like a bigger MJ to me, bro. Like this is crazy. But and look, I mean, Giannis has been phenomenal too. What you saying, Michael? I mean, go back and watch. Like I'll be real, no other big man. I'll be real, no other big is making it. No other big has that type of touch. Like the last big that I could think of that had that type of touch on the perimeter was probably Hakeem. I think probably Hakeem. So when you look at it from that perspective, and look, Giannis has had a good year as well. Giannis has had a phenomenal year. You can't take anything away from what he's been able to do to what he's been able to bring. Milwaukee was on a 16, 17 game winning streak, but then unfortunately, got snubbed by Philadelphia, Joel Embiid. But honestly, man, I mean, it seems like over these next few years, in my opinion, the next few years is going to be these three guys. In my opinion, I think it's going to be a close race between these guys. But I would definitely be happy if either one of them won it. But I think it'll be even more special if Joel Embiid is able to get his first MVP award, because a lot of people thought that he should have won it last year and the year before. So this year, I think he definitely makes a bigger case than in the previous few years.
Hey man, these people on TV, bro. I have to change the channel, bro, because it gets cringe to a certain point with these takes. It's okay, bro. If you want to take Giannis and Jokic, go ahead. But the reason why you don't have Embiid is just like your reasoning for not picking Embiid, and is outside of basketball. And that's just so weird to me.
And here's one thing I'm going to say about Embiid as well. I don't think people really talk about it as much as his evolution on the defensive end. I think that's probably something that people don't really talk about much, but he's grown to be a pretty good, I'm not going to say he's an elite rim protector, but he's grown to be a pretty good rim protector, which is something that Jokic definitely has troubles with. We all know Giannis is a great defensive player, but you got to look at it from both sides. He's been able to elevate as a scorer and as a defender as well.
1000%. All right, man. That's our NBA awards. Great discussion. All right, let's dive into this play-in talk, man. We kind of talked about it a little bit. A couple young stars in the field. I'm gonna put up the screen here for the people.
Well, I ain't gonna lie, I like this background.
Like the background, yeah, the background is beautiful, man. Again,
wonderful.
Again, if you guys are new and you're listening, please subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit that notification bell. Hit that like button on the stream. Hit that like button on our videos. That helps the algorithm for us so more people can see our videos. We have great takes. We're talking about real basketball here, not the lazy takes you see on some of these other networks. This is real. This is real basketball talk right here. So, man, like and subscribe. Greatly appreciate it. Play and talk.
Wait, speaking of which, have y'all already talked about how well the Heat played today? Did I miss that already?
We're not talking about that.
You could dive into that right now.
I mean, I just, I think Nick probably needs to dive into it. And as I've seen,
I need to dive into.
You need to give your flowers to somebody.
So UD,
I'll give him once he's out, man.
Oh, go ahead. I need to step back and listen. Nikolai, go ahead.
Oh my God! I mean, why don't you take the time? You're the Heat fan here.
Because I want to hear. I want to hear it from you.
Udonis Haslem.
Please.
Udonis Haslem in his final NBA regular season game. This is probably his first game in probably 2 years. Who knows? But
whoa! Come on now. Be nice. Let's rewind this and start over. Let's take it back from the top.
Udonis Haslem in his final regular season game had 24 points on 9 to 17 shooting. It was a great sight to see. Dwayne Wade was out there with his family, so it was definitely a lot of nostalgia there. It was a beautiful moment. You know what I'm saying? Seeing him with the ability to go out there and shoot 3-pointers. Get to the basket. Really, I mean, give credit to Eric Spoelstra, really allowing him to really shine in his final regular season game. So definitely kudos to him. And as we see, the Heat are officially in the play-in tournament as they face the Hawks this Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. So Haslem was worth that $1 million, right? For this 4-point game. I seen a stat on my Twitter because obviously I follow a lot of Heat stuff, but it said I think he had 20 or of his 24 points, he had 13 in the first quarter. It said it was the most points he'd scored since 2015 in a quarter. So I mean, awesome.
Yeah. Listen, a really good role player in Miami, stayed with one team for his entire career, champion. That mid range early in his career, that midi was on. He definitely had that mid range on the baseline. He was definitely known for that. Me and a couple of my guys, we were talking about that and talking about Udonis and how well he was playing. It was a good game. It's a feel good game for him. It's meaningless, kind of pretty much a meaningless game for Miami. They really had the play-in. Play-in was already clinched for them. They were already going to play in the play-in whether they won or lost. So for this to be his last regular season game, for it to be in Miami, like Nick said, Wade was there rocking the Haslem jersey. It was a special moment. It was a special moment. Good for him. Good for his family. It was cool. Right,
you know what this was real quick, bro? This was almost like senior night. Your last high school game. Yes. They're like, let's just put the guys out there. You know what I'm saying? It's just funny.
Yeah,
they're going to take that momentum into this play-in game on the 11th, spank the Hawks, and move on out and get ready for the playoffs.
Okay, so you got so Michael got his prediction. Miami beats Atlanta. Nick, who you got?
I'm gonna, unfortunately, I know all my people that love the Hawks. I cover them for Sports Illustrated.
Oh, wow.
I know they're gonna hate me for this, but I'm gonna go with Miami. I mean, I'll be real, man. Like Miami really knows how to lock down Trae Young, really take him out of his rhythm offensively, and force him, to be more of a passive guy. However, this is going to be, I mean, even though the Hawks have had a real up and down season, this is a different team from what we saw last year, especially with the addition of DeJounte Murray, who has had the ability to carry the load offensively and take a lot of pressure off Trae Young. So even though the Heat may be more prioritizing really slowing down Trae Young, you still have another option as well, that you're going to have to stop in DeJounte Murray. But I feel like, Miami roster constructed, they are the better team. Jimmy Butler, who has been in multiple playoff situations, is going to shine, in my opinion. And then, of course, you got other contributors, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, and the list goes on and on. So, with this being a home game for them, in the play-in tournament, I definitely feel like I feel like they're going to come on top.
Yeah, this is going to be a good game. This is not going to be like last year when Miami won in 5 because it was easy. It was easy for them just to trap Trae Young, get the ball out of his hands, make someone else beat them. And now with the addition of DeJounte Murray, like Nick just said, that makes things a little bit difficult. He could create his own shot. He could set up things for others. He could score. So they have to worry about that, especially in a kind of a one game elimination style. Anybody could get hot. Bogdanovich, Sadiq Bey. This is going to be a really good game. Miami. I'm going to pick Miami because I think they're better defensively. But Quinn Snyder, now being the head coach of the Hawks, he has a defensive mindset. So this is going to be a nice chess match between Quinn Snyder and Eric Spoelstra. My concerns in Miami is their lack of scoring. They're one of the lowest offensive scoring teams in the NBA. That's been a problem with them all year. Now, I know, granted, they've missed a lot of guys throughout the season. Jimmy's been out. Kyle Lowry's always out. Tyler Hero's missed some time. So, that's been one of the issues for, a regular season stat. But we know when the playoffs come around, we know Jimmy he turns it on. He's on a different level. He just takes it to that next step, as we've seen since he's been in Miami Heat. So because of that, I think they have the best player in this game, and they have some chemistry. I think they have the best coach in this game. So I'm gonna go with the Miami Heat and a really exciting, fun matchup on Tuesday night. All right, we got game 2 at 10 o'clock on TNT. The Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Los Angeles Lakers. Nick, who you going with? Oh, okay. I guess Nick will go last on that one. Are you ready, bro?
Yeah, my bad, bro. I was trying to unmute myself, but I think it's clear. We got to go with the Lakers. I think all the odds are against Minnesota, especially in this situation. I think the injury to Jaden McDaniels is a big one, and I feel like he's going to be really missing this matchup. But the Lakers are clicking on all cylinders. They just won this game against Utah today, even though that was kind of like a meaningless game for Utah anyway. So, but I think in this situation, they're going to be more battle tested. And I will say this though, man. Even though the Timberwolves won the season series 2-1 against the Lakers, this is going to be a dominant matchup between Anthony Davis and Rudy Gobert. And I will tell you this: so in the 2 games that AD did play against the Wolves, he dropped 38 points in both of those games. So obviously he's going to have that edge against Rudy Gobert. And obviously, LeBron is going to shine as well, but the Lakers supporting cast is really going to come up big. We mentioned it earlier, Jared Vanderbilt and Malik Beasley were great additions. D'Angelo Russell, when he is healthy and in the rotation, he's able to play at a high level. And then the list goes on and on. So, the Lakers, in my opinion, have an advantage. Even though, I'm not going to say that this is going to be a blowout because I don't believe that by any means. But, obviously for Minnesota, I think Ant-Man's going to have to be the number one option for this team, in order to give them like a real shot at winning. But I got the Lakers in this matchup, and they will be the 7th seed, and they will be playing the Grizzlies in the first round.
Sheesh. Michael, who you going with, brother?
I wish my mic was muted, but it's not. The Lakers are going to win.
I know it pains you to hear the truth.
They're playing the best ball since the past 20 games. Let's be honest. As CJ says, we give you the honest and the real spill about the NBA, and the Lakers are probably the best team over this last span as far as what they're doing. So you have to give them the props when they deserve it. So the Lakers are going to win this game, and I think they're going to win it by about 20 points. I really do. It's going to be a blowout of a game.
Yeah, 3 for 3. I got the Lakers as well. Just two different two teams that to me are just trending in 2 different directions. Obviously, we talked about what we saw, earlier today with the Minnesota Timberwolves, and then losing Jalen McDaniels as well in this game because of frustration and him breaking his hand, as Sean's reported. That's tough. They have no one on that team that could guard LeBron. Torian Prince is gonna be like Torian Prince, Kyle Anderson. Those guys are gonna have to play like some of the best games of their careers in this matchup. Nick brought up a great point of Anthony Davis play against Rudy Gobert. I need to see Anthony Davis play like that really the rest of the playoffs. I don't like when he fades and then just goes into just like chill mode and airplane mode. He needs to be aggressive at the start of the game to the end of the game. And if he does that, the sky's the limits for this team. For this game, I like their roster. They won 11 out of their last 13. One of the best top 3 team in defense since the acquisitions during the trade deadline. LeBron tonight went crazy, 8 threes, 36, 6 and 6. what are we really talking about here? I got the Lakers in this game, and they get the 7th seed, like Nick said, going up against the Grizzlies. And obviously, I'll make my predictions for that, but come on. All right, night 2. We got this is a good game, right? This is a really good game. We got the Bulls and the Toronto Raptors. Michael, who you taking?
Last week when we talked about this, I said the Raptors' size would just be too big of a mismatch for the Bulls, and the Bulls really haven't been. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, you good.
Anyways,
man,
and the Raptors. Oh my word! I can't even say anything. Okay,
just keep
so
talking.
The players that the Raptors players would just be too big for a matchup for the Bulls. And the more and more I look at it, and the more even just checking some stats, it's hard for me to buy into that because even just right here, a quick looking on Yahoo.com, going to the sports like field goal percentage, they're 27th at 45%. At 3 points, they're 28th. Points scored, they're 23rd. In total rebounds, they're 18th. I mean, that's bad. And I mean, I know when it comes to playoff, it's more defensive, dominated, I guess you will, when it comes to trying to win in a playoff games. But Toronto, you still got to score baskets. And at least Chicago has some better stats in some of those. Like they're third in field goal percentage. They're 16th in 3 points. They're 21st in total rebounds. But points scored, they're at least 17th. So they have a better offense as far as execution. I mean, they've struggled most of the season on some aspects, but I think Beverly having some experience here, some veterans that's added them, may be the X factor for this team for this play-in game. I mean, you got to win twice, but I don't know why. I've made some risky picks already tonight, so I'm going to flop. I'm going to switch over and say the Bulls are going to win this matchup, basically due to Beverly being in this play-in matchup with the Timberwolves last year and having the emotional celebration all over the place like he did. And the Bulls are going to win this. I mean, DeRozan's played in Toronto for years. He's going to have that on his chest. Levine is going to have the opportunity to say, hey, I belong to be the lead guy here. And Pat Beverly is just playing to be, hey, I'm supposed to be good and we're going to win this game, So I'm going to say I'm a believer in the Bulls now. And I'm sorry that I flipped from 1 week ago saying that the Raptors would win to the Bulls here.
I'm rocking with Chicago in this matchup. I think this will be a really interesting matchup between two duos. Obviously for Chicago, they got DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. For Toronto, they have Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet. And I'll just be honest. I mean, I think VanVleet and Siakam had actual really good seasons. It's just Toronto roster-wise was just not really fit to really be a real contender. However, I think Chicago's supporting cast is just a little bit better. I think DeRozan is going to shine in this matchup. It's like Michael mentioned earlier. He's facing his former team in Toronto, so that's definitely going to be something that's in his mind as well. So I'm going to go with Chicago in this matchup.
I converted you over, didn't I?
No, I had them the entire time.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah, this is a very interesting game because both teams have some great pros and some very alarming flaws. And
great pros and alarming woes.
yeah, facts. And I feel like for the Bulls, they have the better scoring duo in DeRozan and Levine, no question. I think it's really going to come down to that third guy for each team, Scotty Barnes and Vucevic. Which one of those players, has a hell of a game, and that's going to be a factor because, like Nick talked about, we know what Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam can do, and we know what DeRozan and Levine bring to the table. So those other guys, it's gonna play a big factor. The head coaching matchup. Obviously, Nick Nurse has the edge over Billy Donovan. I'm gonna go Toronto. I think they're better defensively. I think they can throw a couple players at DeRozan and Levine with Scotty Barnes, with Siakam, Gary Trent, OG Anunoby as well could be a big factor in this game as well. I'm gonna go with Toronto because they're better defensively. They're at home, so I think some of those role players will play better for sure. I think Scotiabank Arena is going to be rocking. It's going to be, I think, early. It's going to be a slow game. Might be an ugly type game, but I think in the second half, towards around maybe the 8-minute mark in that fourth quarter, I could start to see Toronto go on a run and get it done. So yeah, this is a good game, great chess match. But I'm gonna go with the Raptors.
Don't forget about Alex Caruso. I think he will be a huge piece for that play game as well.
Yeah, Caruso can have a great game. They played really well defensively since bringing in Patrick Beverley, putting him in that starting lineup. But they've gone on Beverley, Caruso, Levine, DeRozan, and Vucevic. They've done great. They've done great, and then also they've struggled as well because offensively, Caruso and Beverley aren't great floor spacers. So that's concerning for two high mid-range type players in the duo that they have over there in Chicago. So it's going to be a Eastern Conference type game. It's going to be ugly, but to me, I'm gonna go with the Raptors. Game 2 and night 2, we got the Oklahoma City Thunder and the New Orleans Pelicans. Obviously, we know Zion will not be playing in this game, as Sean's reported this week. And even if they win this game and advance to the playoffs, there is no timetable for Zion Williamson's return. Just unfortunate. Prayers up to him. But for this game, Nick, who you going with?
Rocking with the Pels in this matchup, man. I think this is going to be a really close game. I wouldn't be surprised if it went to overtime, but I think when New Orleans having that experience, we all know what they did last year in the first round against Phoenix, and many people claim that if Zion was healthy, they would have probably gotten past Phoenix. So with that being said, with them having that playoff experience already, I think they're going to come out on top. Kudos to OKC. It's been a phenomenal season, for them to even get into the play-in tournament. But I think that experience matters in this situation. And Brandon Ingram's been on a tear throughout, especially down the stretch, late in the season, but throughout most of the season when he's been healthy. CJ McCollum hasn't played terrifically. I think a big guy that definitely needs and deserves some love. Actually, two guys. It's Herb Jones and it's Trey Murphy. Those guys have stepped up phenomenally, as two great supporting casts for the Pelicans, and I think that's going to come into full effect in this matchup. So the Pels will definitely come on top in this matchup, and we'll just have to wait and see who they play in the next matchup after that.
Yeah, Michael. Yeah, who you got?
I'll be quick. Pelicans 119 to 1. I'm gonna say 106.
You don't believe in your MIP pick?
No, not in the playoffs. That's a seasonal award.
Oh, okay.
And it's not playoffs. It's play-in.
Got you.
Okay.
I
love you, CJ. Happy Easter, by the way, guys. I don't know if we said that.
Happy Easter, yes, sir. I think we did. Yeah, Happy Easter.
It was probably before I was on.
I'm rocking with the Pels as well. They have the experience from last year, like Nick talked about, taking Phoenix to 6 games. And some of those young players that they had last year have gotten better this year. Trey Murphy, Herb Jones. I believe Alvarado will be in this game. I'm not sure. I don't know what his timetable is, but he has been out for the last few games. I think they have the better coach. I think they have the better roster, even though Zion's not there. Bi has been playing excellent in these last 10 games or so. His playmaking, I've really been impressed with 2 triple doubles during the last 2 weeks. So he's starting to open up that part of his game, which is great. I feel like he's always had that. He's shown flashes of that when he was with the Lakers as well as a young player. So now, now with setting guys up now, it just opens up easier opportunities for him to score. CJ McCollum has great playoff experience also. We know he went to the Western Conference Finals with the Portland Trailblazers. So yeah, it's at the Smoothie King Center. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Pels. It's been a great season for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think they're a year or 2 away, depending on how well we don't know how Chet is, how great he is. So if he's great right away, it could be a year away. So it's been a great season. They play well. They've shown flashes. They've been in that 7-8 spot for a little bit. Kind of dropped back, and I think the reason for that is because of their lack of rim protection. They do have some solid players. Jalen Williams, J-Dub, nickname, has had a great rookie season. I think he's going to be a special player for them going forward. We know Lou Dort. We know about SGA. We know Giddey's playmaking and his ability to get to the basket. Still needs to work on his outside shot. I think once he unlocks that, he could be an extremely dangerous player. So they've shown a lot of really good things this year, but I don't think it's their year this year. So I'm gonna go with the Pels. And yes, sir. That wraps up the playoffs. The play-in, and now we're gonna go to the playoffs. Yeah, see, I was already ahead of it. I was thinking ahead. All right, here we go. For the playoffs, let's play in. Here we go. All right. Saturday, April 15th. Nets versus the Sixers, game 1. Michael, who you got?
I got to go with the MVP, Joel Embiid, leading the 76ers, right?
It's your call, brother.
I'm 76ers all the way on this one. I don't think the Nets are ready for this 76ers team at all. This may be possible. Well, I'll just say first round, first game, 1 game. 76ers wins first game.
Okay, so are you picking them in a series or?
Oh, well, I didn't know. I thought you were just saying.
This is for the series.
In my opinion, this might be a sweep.
Interesting. Okay, that's the first time I've heard someone say that about this series. Okay.
Maybe 5 at the most. I'll say that.
What about you, Nick?
I'm gonna say Philly in 5 as well. I think that they're gonna dominate the first 2 games, and I think once Brooklyn transitions to the home court of game 3, I think they'll probably snatch that one. But I feel like it's gonna be kind of like a one-sided series. So yeah, Philly in 5.
Wow. Now, if it's 3-1, watch out. Nets might come back.
Well, I mean, you're saying Philly. You're saying Philly. I'm okay. You say Philly in 5, but if it's 3-1, watch out. That's crazy. I'm gonna go with the Sixers in 6. I like this. There's a lot of storylines. It's so unfortunate that Ben Simmons is not in this game, man. He
ducking the smoke, baby. He ducking it again.
He always misses the moments. This is perfect. I mean, for you to be a Brooklyn Net and had an opportunity to bounce the Sixers out at the playoffs in the first round, you know how people would view you if you were able to do that, especially with the way the Nets have been playing since the trade deadline. Mikal Bridges, future All-Star, definitely a star.
Mid-season at LSU. This is who he is. Like, I don't know why we're expecting anything different. I'm sorry, Ben Simmons is a quitter.
Yeah, listen, I mean, I don't really want to get too much into that. Yeah, I don't really want to get too much into that because I want to talk about the people that are actually playing. But
right.
I'm just saying, like, this would have been a great story. This would have been a great story. Like, this is the trade that was 2 years ago for Harden. Like, it was just perfect. And of course, he's not available. But another factor, Mikal Bridges was drafted by the Sixers and got traded in like, I believe, like 30 seconds to the Phoenix Suns. That he's from Philly. So, I could see him. This is some, internal motivation for McCall, especially with the season that the second half of the season that he's had since being a Brooklyn Net. This is a fun matchup. Jacque Vaughn versus Doc Rivers. Obviously, Doc Rivers has the edge, but Jacque Vaughn has done a really good job and then keeping this team afloat and having them playing well despite losing their two superstars. Everybody thought they were going to fall off a cliff after trading Kyrie and Kevin Durant, and they've stayed right there in that sixth spot. So right there in the top six. So credit to them. The reason why I say 6 is because we've seen Philadelphia fold a couple games, and they have James Harden, and especially as James Harden is, he's just a spooky player in the playoffs, and he's known to have some moments where he doesn't show up in key moments. I'm not worried about Embiid. They don't have anyone that could guard Embiid. Nick Claxton, it's going to be tough for him, but he's really good. But it's just he can't guard Embiid, so. They're going to have to load up and double and really make things tough for him. And those other guys like Maxey, like PJ Tucker, Tobias Harris, those guys, they're going to have some really good games in this series. But I'm still rolling with Philadelphia in 6 games. It should be a fun matchup, man. I'm really excited for this one. I think it's an underrated series. All right, another series that's locked in.
Whoa. Let me bring it up for you, Nick, because we're going to start with you. Okay. So another series that, of course, we've got already a close one here with the Cavaliers and your every award that they give Knicks to. Who do you see wins this, and how many games that you think it takes the Knicks to fold in?
You asking me or CJ?
Oh, I did say Nick, didn't I? I'm sorry, CJ.
Yeah.
How many? You, CJ. That's who I'm asking. I'm sorry, I said Nick.
You're good. Yeah, so there's a couple factors in this. So remove the basketball. Mm-hmm. I like the New York Knicks in 6 games. But if we're bottom league in assists like we've been all season, and we're playing isolation basketball, I feel like that favors into Cleveland's hands because they do have the rim protection, they do have the size in the middle that's going to make it tough. It's not going to be as easy to get to the basket against a team like the Cleveland Cavaliers. So they're going to have to find other ways to score, be more creative offensively. I say this, but we haven't seen that all year. So knowing Tom Thibodeau and knowing how stubborn he is and his failure to adjust, this is the time where I get concerned about him. He's a great regular season head coach, but come playoff time, he's known to, again, not adjust, which could lead to folding. No doubt about it. But the Cleveland Cavaliers have Donovan Mitchell, and he's a special player. And we know he's going to put up a lot of points, but we saw Mitchell versus Brunson last year, so we know Brunson could easily complement Donovan Mitchell's scoring if need be. I feel like we have a better roster, but we don't maximize our roster because of what I just talked about in regards to the scheme that we play. So it's very tricky picking this matchup. But of course, I'm still going with the Knicks. I'm gonna say Knicks in 7.
I'm rocking with Knicks in 7 as well. I think this is going to be a really close series. And I've mentioned this even in past episodes. Like, I feel like New York and Cleveland, they're going to be neck and neck. So I think this is going to be the perfect series to see who's really the better team out of the two. But I would definitely say Knicks in 7. I think that they're going to win a tough and physical Game 7 on the road. I just think that they're going to be more battle tested. Jalen Brunson is going to lead the way as usual. We'll see how playoff Randall comes to full effect, especially after, what occurred 2 years ago in the first round against Atlanta. So, this is not going to be an easy match because, Donovan Mitchell has had many great playoff moments, even with the Utah Jazz. So in his first season in Cleveland, with him bringing that playoff experience, I think that's going to play into full effect. Obviously Darius Garland, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, Karis LeVert, the list goes on and on. So it's definitely going to be a tough physical matchup between the two teams. But I definitely feel like New York is going to come out on top in Game 7.
Okay. Well, that's great that you guys are on the same page. It's just sad that you both are wrong. It's going to be in 6 by the Cavaliers, but, I do understand by some of the stats where y'all would think that it could be the Knicks, but my biggest stat that I worry about is Knicks are third in rebounds per game when the Cavaliers are 27th, and that, a lot of times you always hear defense wins games, rebounds win championships. So I definitely have a huge edge for the Knicks as far as rebounding, keeping the second chance points, putbacks, all that stuff, cleaning up the glass in favor for the Knicks. What I think is interesting is we have the number of third place and fourth place, Knicks and Cavs, in turnovers per game at 11.9 and 12.2, respectively. So it's going to be a clean game. You're not going to see many turnovers. But in a game that is mostly going to benefit is the Cavaliers because that's what they do is steal and block. They're 14th in block, 16th in steal. They're midway, 6th in assist to turnover ratio at 2, which the Knicks aren't too far behind on that. So it's kind of interesting because field goal percentage, the Cavaliers are 5th, and a lot of that's probably fed off of their turnovers that they do cause. So they're a great shooting team as well at 10th as far as three-point percentage throughout the season as well. So you've got one team that plays great defense and can shoot high percentage, while the other team doesn't give up any easy putback, second chance points, and has them all for themselves on their own offense and never turns the ball over. So both strengths is the other team's strengths that will have to be their weakness. It's going to be, I think, a huge battle, and I think it's either going to be 6 or 7 games. I really do. But I'm going to give the edge to the Cavaliers.
Yeah, this is a fun match. This is a fun matchup.
This will be the funnest first round matchup, I think.
Yeah, defense. Yeah, just the back and forth. I think this next one could obviously be very exciting as well, offensively. But just real fast too, it's just from the Knicks side, RJ, floor spacing. Can he space the floor? Well, can he be able to space the floor, man? And if he's not able to do that, he's not going to be able to close games. He's not going to be able to close his games. I look at Grimes. I look at Quickly. They're the X factors for the Knicks in this series because they could play on and off the basketball, and we're going to need them, and we're going to need their perimeter defense as well against the Cleveland Cavaliers if you want to have a shot at advancing.
I was going to say something, but I don't think it will as pointless, really. I'm really interested in this second matchup as far as offensively. I'm not going to get into it because I want to hear Nick actually on that. That's where I messed up, Nick. I was looking at that one as well as far as getting where I said you instead of CJ. Is how do you really feel about this next matchup between the Sacramento Kings and your Golden State Warriors? Of course, it could be Saturday at 8:30 on ABC, the 15th. Of course, the main factor in this game is they have to play at Sacramento. So you're holding up 6 fingers for our podcasters. The Kings in 6.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Don't play with it. Don't play with it, man. Dubs and 6, baby. Dubs and 6.
Have they even won like double-digit wins on the road this season?
It don't matter, man. The regular season is over. This is our time. We have been in these positions many times. We clinched a playoff spot, not a playoff spot. And we're definitely going to take advantage of this match. Now, give credit to Sacramento. They're going to be a great team, and look, they're not going to make it easy for the Dubs. Especially, people may forget because it's been about 15, 20 years, but that hostile environment in Sacramento during the playoffs is going to be crazy. So, the Kings are definitely going to look to feed off of the energy of the crowd in those first 2 games, and they're going to look to dominate. But I think with the experience that the Warriors have, this is the defending champs. This is a team that's won 4 championships as a unit of Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson. I know that these guys are a lot older, but the experience is definitely there. So Dubs and 6, I think Steph is definitely going to have a magnificent series alongside guys like Jordan Poole and the rest of these guys, and we'll see them move on to the next round.
Yeah, I got Golden State and 6 as well. Just the experience, and then also bringing back Andrew Wiggins, Gary Payton II.
I didn't even bring that up.
I got you, man. So to boost their defense, and Wiggins, Wiggins shot 39% from 3 last year before he was out. this season and missed 22 games. He was shooting 40% from three. So he's a smart basketball player, man, because a lot of people thought that he wouldn't be able to fit with this team because of how he played in Minnesota and how he had all the shots and he wasn't that efficient. But he figured it out. He said, listen, I'm going to be a fourth option, fifth option at times. How can I make an impact? And he worked on his three-point shot. He worked on his defense, the rebounding, just adding more elements to his game to impact winning. And that's why he got that contract extension that he deserved last offseason. They brought in Gary Payton the second back after he went to the Trailblazers and the injuries and whatever happened there, but he's back now, and he's a big time acquisition. Him off the bench, he's gonna be on De'Aaron Fox all series, and that's gonna be fun to watch. They're gonna put Wiggins on them as well. They're gonna have Clay also guarding him a little bit. Sabonis versus Draymond Green is a fun one to watch inside also. Draymond being a former defensive player of the year, we know how skilled Sabonis is. That's going to be fun. The rebounding and defense for the Kings scare me a little bit. Actually, not a little bit, a lot. And that's the factor. The way Golden State, their ability to cut to the basket, which set up the 3-point shot. If you just lull and you just think it's just going to be a 3-point game, the way they cut and move the ball could definitely hurt them. We know Mike Brown. He knows Golden State better than anyone. So Mike Brown versus Steve Kerr is a fun chess match between two former colleagues. So this is going to be a fun series, man. I'm excited. I'm happy for the Kings. The city, that franchise, they're back in the playoffs and they get a home game to start this series. And I'm still a little concerned with Golden State's road record, but they do have the players and the experience to kind of turn that switch on because when it's time, they know what they need to do. And most of the guys on that team were on the team last year when they won the championship, so they know what it takes. They know what they need to do. I look for Kevon Looney to have a really big series with the offensive rebounding. Look out for him to have multiple double games. Wiggins as well. Because if they're able to crash the glass and create second chance opportunities for guys like Clay, guys like Steph, Jordan Poole, watch out. But this is a fun matchup. I'm excited for the Kings, but I'm still going with the defending champs in this one in 6.
And that's fair. Looking at some of these team stats comparison, it's very close on some of these categories. Points per game, Golden State second, Kings are first. Assists per game, Golden State's first, the Kings are third. It's just they're really close neck to neck on a lot of these. 3-point percentage, Golden State second, Kings are ninth. Even what was another one? Steals per game. It's a little bit mid here, but the steals per game, 16 for Golden State, 21st for Kings. It's just whatever they do, they're right there close with them. Rebounds, like you said, that's a big factor there. Golden State's 8th, Kings are 20th. So that's a big difference there. I'm just going to be honest. A lot of times all year long, I've said there's some teams that I can't bet on them or say that they're going to do anything because they're the Gonzaga of the NBA. I can't really say anything until they can prove me wrong. Well, Kings have been proving me wrong in the other way. I've always felt like they were not going to be good enough. It was going to run out. So they can't last the whole season. I don't want to keep doubting them. Golden State, yes, they're going to get Wiggins, and I think that's going to be huge for them. And like you said, Gary Payton Jr. as well. They are getting their team together at the right time. But I'm going to say this. If I was a betting man, I would go ahead and bet some money on the Kings until they prove me wrong that they're not actually going to do what they've done all year long. Kings have momentum. They have been well all year long. I'm going to say Kings in 6. If not 7. Why would we not? They have been
cut this man's mic.
I'm just saying. Listen, in all seriousness, I don't know what it is, but seriously, how many games have you all won this season on the road? Legit, I was joking. Have you all made it in the teens? But it's very low.
9 games. That's it.
They've only won 9 games. Wow, I was lying.
9 games on the road. This is the playoffs, not the regular season. We're putting that behind us.
And I'm with you. Out of all teams that are in the playoffs, play-in, whatever you want to say, Golden State is the most seasoned team that can come from any diverse to win it. Get that. But I'm just going to take a chance in this one and say, I'm going to pick the Kings here. And if Golden State goes over this, then I'm saying Golden State to the moon because it's Golden State who we expected. But Golden State's not been the best team. Like, I want to pump the brakes here. Like, everyone's already saying this is Golden State of the past and they're going to make it. Like, Kings are the number 3 seed for a reason here, and we didn't think that they would be this. And Brown, who like CJ alluded to earlier, sat under Kerr for a long time, basically is mimicking some of this. That's why their comparisons are almost mirrored. So they know each other. They know what to be expecting here. I'm going to say the Kings. Why would you not take a chance on this? I want to see the. How about this? Let me ask this. Well, let me ask you, CJ. Would you not rather see the Kings win here?
I mean, it's a massive upset. It's a massive upset.
Absolutely.
It would shock everybody. It would shock everybody if they're able to do this.
Absolutely.
They have some really good role players as well. Kevin Huerter, career year. Keegan Murray, most threes by a rookie in NBA history. Harrison Barnes, former Golden State Warrior, former champion with the Warriors.
What a storyline that would be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a fun matchup. It's just we don't know if experience with this roster is going to affect them or not. That's the biggest thing. So until the Kings prove me wrong that they're not who they say they are, I mean, how can we not? Because Golden State, until they prove me wrong on the road who they are, I would have to say the Kings here. Like it's fair. It's fair, but then for Nick or a Warrior fan, they could use that same narrative in terms for the playoffs.
I agree.
So they can say the same thing. It's like you just said for the regular season. They can say the same thing about Golden State for the playoffs. So that's what I'm saying. This what makes this such an exciting series. And man, I'm going to be tuned in for sure because
I'm going to say this at least. I bet you most baskets are going to be shot, or most shot attempts are probably going to be perimeter shots, and plus with probably like 5 to 8 seconds left to go in the shot clock every time. Like this score is going to be flirting with the 118 to 125 points every night.
And also it's just they don't have an answer for Steph.
No. They can only hope.
And that's Davion Mitchell's, he's talented and he's a body, but they don't have anyone that can stop Steph. And if Clay's on, Poole, it's just and they have guys that can shoot the rock too. Malik Monk has had a career year. Like it's a great series.
Keegan Murray as well.
Yes, I'm not saying Kings either to be like these other ESPN people like clickbait basically saying this to be like, oh, I can't believe they said it. But if I say the Kings, who have proven all year long that they are real, I mean, and it does actually happen, I look like I'm smart. Right?
I mean, of course. Yeah. You're going against the grain. Obviously, everyone's going to go with the defending champions.
Right.
And especially in the first round. Second round, and depending on the matchup, it might get tricky. But and then of course they're going up against a team that doesn't have the experience they have. So, right. So you get this one right. This is crazy. Hey, I don't know if you're a betting guy, but
you could probably put $20 on this game and win like 1,000.
Yeah.
Even though the Kings are the higher ranked seed, so I don't know if it would really be an upset. I don't know who the underdog in this is.
The Kings are still the underdog for sure. I mean, Vegas wouldn't take Sacramento in this series. That'd be. They try to rob. That's pretty much them trying to rob people, bro. They take Sacramento. This is that again. Like I said, they have no answer for Steph, and he's just too special. He's just too special, man. And if he has it going, the way he was playing, even though they were losing, he was still putting up 40, 45, 50. Yeah, like a 59-9 game against the Clippers, and they lost.
Okay,
it was just so.
Let me make sure this is right. Point spread. It's got Golden State as plus 1.5 and Sacramento negative 1.5. So that means they have Kings winning by 1 point, right?
I can see that. I can see that changing by
I
Saturday.
don't care about these odds, man.
I can see that changing. I can see that changing by Saturday. Honestly,
right? But so they're actually
So what is that for game one of the series?
That's game. I'm assuming game one.
Okay.
Yeah, again, and a lot of that has to do with the road record,
location, everything. Oh,
right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the road record and all that. But I could still possibly see that changing by Saturday, and that's still even with the road record, that's still fairly close.
Absolutely.
So again, everything we talked about factors in. So this is an exciting series. All right, let's wrap it up. We got.
Hang on. Go ahead. All I'm gonna say, this is my last statement on this series. The Kings better not let us get game one. You better not let us get game one on the road, because if we get game one, it's gonna be a difficult time for Sacramento to really come back and win this series. Even though it is just one game, but say that again.
So you take Golden State game one?
I'm gonna take Golden State game one. Set the tone, baby.
Okay.
If they win game one, they've won 1/9 of all they won on the road all season long.
This is a new season, man. New season.
I agree.
Everyone's 0-0.
I agree.
It's facts. This is facts. All right, last but not least, the locked in series. You hate this. If Paul George
the best matchup.
I hate this matchup. Well, as the Suns.
Yeah, I bet. So we get KD versus Russ.
Yes, sir.
We get KD versus Russ. Are you serious? I've been waiting for this playoff matchup for so long, man. After they've been battling when KD went to go, we get KD versus Russ first round. What, man? Wow. This is they just played tonight. Obviously, guys weren't playing. Kawhi and Russ played. And the Lakers, the Clippers got the dub, which kept them in that 5th seed this season. So, Nick, who you going with? We know Paul George is out. Last time I saw him, he was in a brace. So I don't think he's playing in this series, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. That's what would have made this one really exciting, is if Paul George was playing. But as for the series, I'm gonna say the Suns in 6. With them fully healthy, and then having the tandem that they have. Kevin Durant. I want to say he's still undefeated with the Suns this year. Then of course, Devin Booker. We all know what he brings to the table. He already has that experience in the playoffs that we've been waiting for the past few years. Now, give credit to the Clippers. I think even though Paul George is out, I think that this is still going to be a pretty good series. I mean, the Clippers have one of the best supporting casts, in my opinion, in the NBA. And then, of course, you have that with a combination of a guy like Kawhi Leonard, who came back this season and had a really great year. This is going to be a great back and forth matchup per se. And the narrative of Russ versus KD, I think that's going to be the most exciting narrative, just because as CJ mentioned, we've been waiting on this for years. Many people thought that it was going to happen when KD went to Golden State and Russ was still in OKC. Unfortunately, and honestly, I'll be real. Back then, it would have been a great matchup as well, because back then the Thunder had Paul George and they had Melo, which Melo wasn't like prime Melo, but he was still a pretty good version of himself. So now we're getting this matchup here. I really think this is going to be the best matchup of the first round. I really do. But in the end, I think Phoenix will come out on top in 6 games, and they will be moving on to the next round.
Mike, you want to go? You go to your squad?
I mean,
Michael has a lot of squads.
I have 2. And you know that. It's the Suns and the Heat. But, this is going to be a very tough matchup. Defense from the Clippers, the offense from the Suns, bigs from the Suns, and Ayton, if they utilize him for his whole capability. I don't think the Clippers really have much of a matchup from him or for him. I give the favor in that. Chris Paul's leadership, as far as what he could do with the minimum amount of ball opportunity or percentage with the ball. Kevin Durant, what all he brings to the table when he doesn't roll an ankle. Bubble Booker and boom, just like that right there. What he brings, I mean, I just feel like that unit, that team right there, if Paul George don't play, I'm going to say Suns in 5. Makes me feel a little bit better.
Wow. Suns in 5 if Paul George doesn't play.
Got to be bold. KD,
so
is it good? All right, done.
Couple factors in this. I talked about KD versus Russ, but also Chris Paul going up against the Clippers. He had, phenomenal years.
That's true.
And then Nick's favorite word, phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
He had some great years with the Clippers. So another sneaky storyline in this one. I'm gonna go Phoenix in 6. I think Kawhi and Russ and the supporting cast, they're good enough to get 2 games. It's just unfortunate that PG got hurt. PG got hurt. I mean, if he didn't get hurt, excuse me, it's a toss-up. It's 1,000% a toss-up. Anyone that actually knows the game of basketball couldn't tell me otherwise. But since with PG being out, and I don't know if he's going to play in this series at all, I'm going to go with Phoenix here. Kawhi's back. That's good. But they have someone that could offset Kawhi, Kevin Durant. And then you have Booker going into the fold. Russ has played great since being a Los Angeles Clipper. 15, 7, and 4, 49% from the field, 36% from 3 since being a Los Angeles Clipper. It's pretty impressive. He's not taking as many threes as we saw in years past. He's understanding his strengths. I think Ty Lue has done a great job in putting him in positions to succeed on the court. He's an exceptional head coach. I think they have the favor in that aspect in terms of the head coaching, even though Monty Williams is a phenomenal head coach. So that's a good chess match as well in terms of scheme and adjustments. This is going to be a back and forth battle. They saw each other 2 years ago in the Western Conference Finals. Kawhi was hurt during that one. Now PG is hurt. It's just the story of the Clippers, really. Honestly, since Chris Paul was there, either Blake got hurt, Chris Paul got hurt. Now with Kawhi and PG, one or the other are hurt. Both are out. It's so unfortunate. The only time we saw both of them together is when they blew the 3-1 lead against the Nuggets, and it's looking like that might be the only time we might see them as a duo together. I don't know what Steve Ballmer is going to do. His patience may be thin, maybe ran thin. If he keeps seeing this team crumble and fold, whether it's injuries or just lack of getting it done. So this is a great series, and it's going to be physical. Ayton is the X factor. I always say that, but he just what type of DeAndre Ayton are we going to get? I think Zubats could come out and outplay him in a couple games, 1,000%. I've seen Ayton have 3 rebounds in 30 minutes. So he's a wild card. He's a wild card, man. If he's on his game, I think he needs to step up defensively and bring an impact in that aspect, because they really don't need him to score that much. Having those 2 powerhouses and Booker and KD, he needs to be productive in rebounding, defense, doing his job in that aspect, creating second chance opportunities for those 2 guys. Chris Paul, I think he'll play well in this series. Again, he's dealt with some injuries. He's obviously not the same player that we've seen in the years past, but just because it's the Clippers and some added motivation in this one, he's going to play well in this series for sure. So I think this is a fun matchup. It's a great series. Again, sucks that Paul George is out, but I'm going with Phoenix in 6 games.
Well, see, Chris Paul don't have to play great, but Chris Paul just has to be a great facilitator. He's just got to get KD in his isolations where he needs to be, direct the traffic where he needs to be, get even Booker in his isolations, or get them off their pick and rolls, get them in their spots where they need to be, and set them up in the perfect spots. If you're a shooter, you like to catch the ball a certain way in a flow to shoot. Chris Paul understands that in his ball deliverance as far as passing it to him. That's one thing I always learn, even playing pickup here. There's one guy who is knocked down when you throw the ball to him up and to the right side of his face already, where he's catching it in his motion. There's one guy you can hit him right in the chest where he can kind of get the motion going down and up, and he's a better shooter that way. Like, he knows how his team needs to catch it and get in rhythm. Ayton, pick and roll. Don't make him do too much. Let him catch it in his spot as from a pick and roll and lead him to the goal. Don't let him do too much, and he'll dominate. Chris Paul, that's all he's got to do. Come off of a pick, hit a little jump shot at the elbow, do it a few times, make them come up on you, can't pick and fade, or they can't fade off of the roll. Hit that 2 times, and then they got to come up a hedge. You dip it down. Oh, now they do help off of that from the weak side. You swing pass out to Booker, who's open there on the weak side for the 3-point. It's buttercream going in. That's all it is. It's all day.
Yeah, it could look that way, but again, Ty Lue's an exceptional head coach, and he's gonna make it difficult, very difficult for KD.
Agree.
Book for sure. Clippers, they definitely have the depth, no doubt about it. Like Nick talked about when he made his prediction, but we also know in the playoffs, rotations get much shorter, and when you look at the lineup that Phoenix have, it's just they're so dangerous in all different type of aspects. So X factor for the Clippers obviously is Westbrook. If he's playing like anything, like any type of glimpse of OKC Russ, watch out. And he's played really well as a second guy with PG being out. He's had some really good games. We talked about that game against Memphis. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, where I think he had 30, 33, 10, and 6. He went crazy in that one. So this is a fun matchup, man. I can't wait for this one next weekend as well. This weekend coming up. Great. This is a great first round. It's one of the best, and we don't even know how the 8 and 7th yet. Yeah. We don't even know 1, 8, and 2, 7 yet in each conference, and still how everything is set up right now is set to be an exciting first round, bro. I can't wait.
All right. With that being said, I think we are done with the show. Am I right? Anything else y'all got?
The playoffs are starting, baby. Let's go.
Let's go, man. I'm excited. This is the time, and this is also the time for us too. We're gonna put out a lot of content, during this time frame as well. So much talent. The talent pool. Just in the first.
Us 3, for real.
just in this first round alone is insane. So definitely look out for multiple clips, multiple reels, and obviously the live shows from us breaking down these games. We might do some spaces. I'm definitely be available for some spaces during the weekend. Break down some games. So hopefully we get some people in there as we're watching the game. So it's an exciting time, and I'm just grateful to be a part of this platform, be part of this podcast with you guys, and talk about the game that we love.
Sounds good. With that being said, guys, as you can see on this side over here, follow us. Go to our link tree at MNC Hoops. You can find all of the different links that we have out there from our social medias on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, the whole 9 yards of that. As you can see, scrolling down on the ticker below, subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@MNC Hoops for a chance to win one of our MNC Hoops Cup as I bring mine onto the scene. Boom. First 100 subscribers, we will be drawing. Oh, look at that cup, CJ. A random winner on that. Also, you can find me, MDLawson00, on pretty much any platform as well. And guys, as always, I thank you all so much. Nick, CJ, again, hope you guys had a happy Easter. Thank you guys for being on the show. Where can they find you guys at?
Yes, sir. First and foremost, happy belated birthday to our guy here at the bottom. Yes, sir. And happy early birthday to me. I got about 15 minutes. 15 minutes till I go ahead and pop out. Big 25.
Hey.
But besides that, man,
happy birthday.
Definitely appreciate it. Definitely follow us on Twitter, Instagram at MNC Hoops. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at MNC Hoops as well. Subscribe to us on any other platform, Apple, Spotify, you name it. Give us 5-star reviews. I think that we are deserving of that. And also follow me on Twitter at NickAndreATR. Follow me on Instagram at NickAndreATR as well.
CJames9_. Again, MNC Hoops on YouTube, IG, TikTok. TikTok's doing a really good job, man. We appreciate all the love on TikTok.
Shout out TikTok.
Yes, sir. We're doing some big numbers over there. Facebook is doing well. Also, Garter Podcast. My Garter Podcast is coming back. We're going to start bringing some guests from different podcasts, different people talking about the game, talking about sports, dive into the playoffs, hear some other people's perspective on that. So stay tuned for that. CJ versus the World also streaming some 2K. Shout out my guy Michael that stopped by yesterday, playing a little 5v5. I'm definitely getting back into that as well.
Listen, was that 2K23?
Yes, it was. Yes,
it looked pretty dope. I might have to get it myself. You got room for another player?
You got P5, bro. You got to get the P5, man. Yeah. So you get that P5, you can lock that in. I can lock you in the spot easily, bro. We need high IQ basketball players on the side, but
Nick, you're out, man.
We're Xbox over here, unfortunately.
Xbox is cool. It's cool, man. It's cool. Maybe one day I'll go back. I'll go back to the Microsoft ways, but
MNC hoops. Gamers. There we go.
Oh, we can do live streams on the YouTube.
Hey, stay tuned. But you find me on Twitch, CJ versus the World. Find me on YouTube, CJ versus the World, for more gaming content, man. Knicks Boulevard. Shout out to everybody that's been showing me love on my Knicks Boulevard page. Getting a lot of love. A lot of people been showing me, hitting me up messages on my reels and showing me love on my post recap reels. So thank you guys for that. We're going to keep it rocking with everything that we got going on. But more importantly here, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Then when you hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit that notification bell for any notification, whether it's a live video, a reel, a clip from MNC Hoops, man. We really appreciate it.
Boss, with that being said, y'all have a good night.
You guys have a good night. Happy Easter. Happy belated to my guy, Michael.
Happy birthday, Nick.
Happy birthday to my brother, Nick, man. Let's get it.
Aries season, let's go.
Playoffs.
Yes, playoffs.
Playoffs.